Good morning. Andy Burnham vows to revive Britain as he becomes the new leader of the Labour Party.
The Makerfield MP, and now leader, uses his inaugural speech to pledge the most significant political change, he says, for a generation.
We can be that party, the party that puts more power in people's hands, drives good growth in every postcode and puts hope in every heart. That's my mission as your new leader.
But will Burnham's message of hope actually translate to anything? Or could his radical nationalisation plan drag Britain back to the 1970s?
More reports circulate about Burnham's potential cabinet picks. Could Angela Rayner be set for a comeback as Britain's next health secretary?
The White House backs Argentina's football team after players, including Lionel Messi, held a Falkland Islands banner following their World Cup semi-final win against England.
Messi is one of the greatest of all time. And in terms of the ability, the opportunity to be able to make, those statements, they have the ability to do that in the United States of America.
Henry Novak's family release a statement after his killer's mother is jailed for 3 years for removing the murder weapon from the scene of the crime.
Denmark announces plans to ban burqas in schools and universities. So this morning we're asking if we should follow suit.
A very good morning. England boss Thomas Tuchel says defeat is a scar we carry as he looks ahead to the bronze medal match against France in Miami tonight. Elsewhere, there's been controversy at the Open and tributes are paid to Gary Sobers, who's died at the age of 89.
A fine weekend for most, with plenty of sunny spells. Not quite as hot as recent days. Join me later for a full forecast, but I'll warn you now, if you're looking for rain for your garden, you'll probably be disappointed.
It's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Ann Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Well, I am ready
For
this breakfast show, but Andy Burnham is ready for number 10. That's what he said yesterday, isn't it? Yeah. I am ready.
Yeah, well, good. I'm glad he's ready, but we don't know whether or not to be ready for him, because we still don't know very much about him.
Well, or what he's going to do.
You said just in those headlines that could it all be dragging us back to the 70s? But he wants to drag us back to the 70s, apparently. Now, I remember the 70s. I remember doing my homework by candlelight.
Yes, I remember all the blackouts.
And then when everybody was wearing those ghastly long midi maxi dresses.
I don't know if he's bringing those back.
He says he wants to take us back to the 70s, and that was a big part of them.
But what
everybody wore brown. It was a very brown decade.
But what I don't understand is he was then very dismissive. Everything started to go wrong in the 80s. Well, the 80s was...
That's not how most people remember it. I mean, there was a...
Well, the 80s, we were the poor man of Europe, weren't we? And then we got sort of... we got back on our feet in the 80s.
And there was Margaret Thatcher.
But not without some pain and controversy, obviously. I mean, it was difficult.
There was always controversy.
But it is when we sort of got back on our feet. So I don't quite understand.
Andy Burnham doesn't see it that way. What was sport like in the 70s?
England didn't qualify for tournaments. So you didn't get this blanket coverage that you get now because the team just wasn't good enough. Well, they were good enough, but they're probably mismanaged to some degree.
Yeah.
Mind you, the hairstyles were awful.
Yeah, they were.
And the shorts were terrible.
The shorts were tight, very tight. Yeah.
They were embarrassing when you look back at those.
I know. I do think the players were good enough then, but if they were doing what they were doing now, if they were doing then what they're doing, sorry, if they were doing. What am I trying to say?
I don't know.
No, sorry. If they were failing to qualify for tournaments now, they'd be held to pay. And it was because there wasn't blanket media coverage back then. There wasn't the scrutiny on the players that you get now.
No.
And it wasn't social media, of course.
No, that's very true. And what was music like in the 70s?
Good decade.
It was the big... Yes, it was good for music. I mean, the Queen was big in the 70s. Those big stadium bands, they
also
were...
had a lot of punk.
And punk was the rise of punk,
That used to scare me, punks.
Yeah. Scared everybody. Everybody thought, what has the world come to?
Yeah. Anyway, we might be going back to that. We might not.
How do you remember the 70s? Get in touch. Were they good or bad for you? What do you think were the standout features of the 70s?
Well,
that might do well for us today.
Stephen and I were born.
Yes, that's it. We were the great things of the 70s, me and you. Anyway, look, Andy Burnham says he is ready now to lead the country. This is what he had to say.
We can be that party, the party that puts more power in people's hands, drives good growth in every postcode and puts hope in every heart, that gets the country pulling together again and moves beyond the divisions of recent years, all people and all places, public and private sectors, in a new sense of unity and common cause. That's my mission as your new leader, to bring back hope.
Well, in his speech, the former Greater Manchester Mayor, mustn't call him that anymore, must we? I mean, suppose we...
No, we don't need to call him that anymore.
No, he's the Labour leader now. He set out his vision for government, promising a new kind of politics, less focused on political point scoring.
I will be a leader for the North, the South, the East and the West, for Scotland, Wales and for Northern Ireland.
What's wrong with the Midlands?
Well, no. Well, yeah, I get it. It's all sound. The trouble is with it all.
It's just words at the moment.
It is just words. I don't know what any of it means. Hope in every heart. Prime Minister for the whole country. Well, yeah. He also vowed to make his party, and hold on to your hats for this, distinctly Labour for the Labour Party. There you go.
Yeah. First on the list, which is something he must be doing first, and we're all talking about, I suppose, is who is going to be in his cabinet and what sort of jobs are they going to have. There's much speculation, of course, mounting on who's going to, for instance, be Chancellor.
Yes, well, I mean, it's over the end of this week, Shabana Mahmood has been sort of placed as the front runner.
Doesn't necessarily mean it will be her, does it?
No,
Sometimes it's the worst thing that can happen to you is be named as the first in line for that job.
It really doesn't mean it's going to happen.
And does she want it? Yeah. A lot of people actually concede, who don't even like the politics of the government, concede that she's been pretty...
Good in the Home Office.
Exactly. Didn't like to say it, you know, it's difficult to say.
It's difficult to spit out.
But no.
But she has, I mean, she has been, but she's been quite hardline, but they're also saying make a Chancellor. That's going to upset the backbenchers.
And what about Angela Rayner as the Health Secretary?
Yeah, I mean, that would be a comeback, wouldn't it? Should we see what political commentator Duncan Barks has to say about it all? Good morning. This is like speculating over who's going to be the new James Bond.
It is a bit like that. I find it inconceivable. We saw Andy Burnham yesterday and he was talking about, I still haven't decided, I haven't made my mind up yet about my cabinet. It's like, really? Is that honestly the case? Because if that is the case, that's a shocking state of affairs, because you must have an inkling as to who you at least want to be your Chancellor, which arguably is the second most important job after being Prime Minister. So there's a lot of speculation going on. I mean, we're on the cusp of the United Kingdom having its 7th Prime Minister in 10 years, which, if you look at that, from outside of the UK, is quite a shocker, isn't it? Yeah. So the state of domestic politics, I think it's fair to say, isn't great. We saw Burnham yesterday saying he's ready to lead, which is probably just as well, because he's about to become Prime Minister. Thank you for that. And I have a plan. Well, that's useful to know, but what is it? And this is the problem. And you mentioned speculation, and I would have thought by now we would have more than just an inkling or scraps to pick up on as to what a Burnham premiership is going to look like. We have all of this speculation about who's going to be in his cabinet. The big job, as you've just mentioned, is who's going to be Chancellor. It was Ed Miliband. That was kind of like, he was the favourite up until about 5 or 6 days ago. Now looks like Shabana Mahmood, who's currently the Home Secretary. It's fair to say she's a slightly divisive figure within the Labour Party, particularly with some of her, some would say, hardline reforms on immigration, which have upset a big rump of Labour backbench MPs, and a few of the newspapers this morning speculating that Angela Rayner, Angie as she likes to be known, could be the Health Secretary, which is kind of interesting when you look at previous pictures of, and I'm not judging people, a lot of vaping going on and a lot of cocktail slamming in the past. So, but mind you, that's nothing new. We've had a Health Secretary in the past, Ken Clarke, who loved his whiskey and his cigars, so it doesn't really matter. it is interesting to see, or possibly to speculate, what we're going to end up with in terms of a strategy. And yesterday, Andy Burnham spent a long time basically dismissing what he calls neoliberalism, which is something that he said started under Margaret Thatcher and also continued under the Tony Blair years, because despite it being Tony Blair being a Labour Prime Minister, it was New Labour, which was very kind of sympathetic to people making money and pro-business, etc. And it struck me when he was being quite dismissive of those Thatcher years, the Conservatives were voted back in throughout the 80s time and time again, presumably because people in this country thought, well, my life's getting a little bit better here. And I think there is a concern that when he talks about we're going to be proper Labour and whatnot, and already some of the commentators are speculating, and again, some of the front pages talks about Britain going back to the 1970s. Might maybe see renationalisation of some of our utilities and whatnot, which is all well and good, but the big question is where is the money going to come from? Because if you renationalise our utilities and various other industries, that costs hundreds of billions of pounds.
Yeah, you've got to buy them back.
You've got to buy them back.
And he invoked the spirit of Neil Kinnock. And as you've just reminded us, Margaret Thatcher got re-elected 3 times up against Neil Kinnock, who wasn't a very good leader.
No, I mean, he was referenced... Well, there were 3 people yesterday who were referenced in Burnham's speech. One was Lord Kinnock, the other was David Blunkett, and the other was Margaret Beckett, who were all in the audience there, and the cameras kind of captured their reactions, etc. And Lord Kinnock looked slightly emotional. I mean, it's fair to say, what's interesting is he was the only leader in that room. There was no Blair anywhere. There was no Brown anywhere. No. So this idea that this is the new phase, the new dawn of the Labour Party being reinvented, it's quite interesting who was actually in the room.
But it's an interesting mix. I mean, Margaret Beckett, with all due respect, never made a particularly sort of high office. She never had that sort of impact. A very good MP in Derbyshire, has got to be said, but nevertheless. David Blunkett, on the other hand, was actually, particularly as Home Secretary, was actually very tough on immigration.
He was, and Andy Burnham described him as a mentor, and he was very, very warm and glowing about the support that he received and continues to receive from David Blunkett. So I think we're all waiting to find out what the plan is, what the future of Britain looks like, and under Andy Burnham, I think he's got a lot of work to do. Because we see this character, and he's very much playing on his Manchester roots, and that's fine. But I kind of cringed a little bit. I don't know if you saw it yesterday at the end, when he started dancing to True Faith by New Order. A great Manchester band. I found myself thinking, well, that's a great New Order track. Maybe on Monday, someone will play Blue Monday because the reality or bite of a Burnham premiership. But I just thought, this is a politician at the moment who just oozes. It's all about vibes. Yeah. It's all about the kind of image. Andy's for us and stuff, which is fine. That's politics, and that's the brand.
People keep saying, and they're not wrong. Well, he's charismatic, he's a great communicator, and he's a really nice fella. All of those things are absolutely true. Yeah. That doesn't necessarily mean it's got the policies which are going to help Britain. Yeah, my concern is, and I think the concern of GB News viewers and listeners will be, is all of the things that you've mentioned, absolutely. But let's just remember the bar was quite low compared to Keir Starmer in terms of being a good communicator. Yeah. But it's like, where's the meat in all of this? He oozes this image of he'd be a great bloke to go and have a pint with and see a football game with. That's fine. But that is not enough to lead this country and particularly take on some of the challenges that we know exist, including, uncontrolled illegal immigration and an economy that's suffering and the sheer amount of debt that we have accrued over the last several years. Our debt interest payments alone, this is just interest, 105 to 110 billion pounds a year. That's just the interest, not the rump of paying off how much money we've borrowed. So if you look at that, then you look at the kind of vibes that are coming out about nationalisation. How's that going to be paid for? So it's either going to be it's either going to be increased taxation, and I think we're going to see that, or it's going to be more borrowing, or both, because he did say a few days ago we might have to ask people, we're going to have to make some difficult choices, is what he said, which is, in the world of politics, that is code, right? That is code for
taxation.
Well, in my book it is, yeah.
Have you been irritated? Because it's irritated me a little bit that everyone's come out and praised Keir Starmer. recently.
Yeah.
Keir Starmer's been saying, well, you know, look, I saved the Labour Party, I've done all these wonderful things. Rachel Reeves is talking about how wonderful the economy is, or has been under her. Why is no one who is taking over, and the only reason they're taking over is because everything seems to be failing? Why is no one saying, actually, no, it's not been a good 2 years, we've not delivered on what we said, the economy's floundering, and why is no one being honest?
Because there's no honesty in politics anymore. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Why did they think they had to get rid of their leader?
What I find really interesting is I found it two things incredibly hypocritical and nauseating. Wednesday, the last Prime Minister's questions for Keir Starmer, they applauded him leaving the chamber.
Yeah.
These are pretty much the rump of MPs who were desperate to get rid of him. All right, so they stood up and applauded him. And then yesterday, Burnham was giving his speech, and there was a big diatribe about Sir Keir Starmer, and he saved the Labour Party, all applauding away. You know, and I thought the hypocrisy here is off the scale, because everyone in that room wanted Starmer gone. Why did they want to get rid of him? Because I think the threat of Reform UK was quite high in Labour heartlands, and if you look at the polling over the last couple of years, Labour, for a government that got in with a whacking majority, over 400 MPs. They should have been polling a lot better. They weren't. Reform was part of that threat. And I think a lot of Labour MPs simply panicked and thought, we're going to lose our jobs. What did? They decided to change leader. And what we're going to end up with, in my view, is a Prime Minister that has zero mandate.
He must feel
apart from the people who voted for him in Makerfield.
Can I just ask you what the process is now? Has Keir Starmer been to the King and said, I'm going?
No, it happens on Monday.
No, that's on Monday.
He will do that on Monday.
Yeah.
But Andy Burnham only becomes Prime Minister once the King has seen him and asked him to be Prime.
And then I suspect what we'll see on Monday afternoon, probably early afternoon, I mean, it might be late morning, but I think it'll be late morning, early afternoon, you'll see the infamous podium outside of Downing Street. You'll see our new Prime Minister.
A new Prime Minister and a new podium.
And a new podium.
Every Prime Minister has their own designed podium, So
Sir Keir gets to take his one away with him in the removal van.
Yeah, they all get their own specially designed one.
What a great use of taxpayers' money.
Well, exactly.
They stick it in the corner of their new living room with Aspidistra on the top.
Absolutely.
And say, that was my podium.
That's I had a career. I was a future once. So I think it'll be late morning, early afternoon. We'll see Andy Burnham with his new podium outside of Downing Street, potentially, maybe inside if it's raining, but given the weather, I doubt it. And he will outline his vision for the United Kingdom. And he needs to really put some meat on the bones. It needs to be beyond, we're going to govern in a new way. I'm going to go to the north, south, east and west, blah, 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 which is what we've heard ad nauseum for the last few days. We need to hear a vision for the UK backed up with some firm policies. And the most important thing, how he's going to pay for it.
Yeah. All right, Duncan, thank you. We'll see you a little bit later on.
Thank you.
Right, let's move on to some of the other stories coming into the newsroom today. And the mother of Henry Novak's killer has been sentenced to 3 years in prison for removing a knife from the scene of the crime. She's 53-year-old Kiran Kaur, and she was found guilty at Southampton Crown Court of assisting an offender.
The legendary cricketer Sir Gary Sobers has died at the age of 89. He was born in Barbados, widely regarded as one of the finest cricketers of all time. Played for the West Indies for 20 years, making his first Test appearance in 1954.
The US military has said it carried out the 7th night of strikes on Iran since President Trump declared the temporary ceasefire was over. Officials confirmed they've been targeting surveillance sites, underground weapons storage and maritime capabilities.
All right, coming up to 6:19, time for the Daily Reflection.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
Welcome to the Anglican parish of St Andrews, Wimbledon, where I serve as vicar. The ancient desert monks had a name for a particular temptation which they called the noonday demon. It wasn't the lure of bad things, it was even worse. It was a creeping indifference to all things. The monk afflicted by this would stare from his cell window, unable to pray, unable to work, numb to everything that once seemed to matter. We usually call it laziness, but the old writers called it something more precise, the sin of omission, not doing the good that needed doing, often at someone else's expense. The Apostle Paul's answer in the letter to the Ephesians is striking. He says, "Let the thief no longer steal, but work with their own hands so that they might have something to share with those in need." See, Christians believe that diligence at its heart is not about productivity or status. It's about becoming someone who creates in order to give, who works in order to bless others. See, that's the logic of the gospel. Because the opposite of stealing isn't not stealing, but working hard to have something to share. And that makes sense if we take our cues from Christ, who worked hard his whole life, who gave up everything to work to give the reward of eternal life to others. That changed the way that we think now about our own diligence and our own lives.
Now, I've been enjoying the weather. I don't know whether you have. I've been able to get out in the garden and actually do some gardening this week, which was nice. Good fun. How long is it going? Trouble is, you sit there thinking, can I rely on tomorrow being as good?
Don't know, do you?
That's why we pay forecasters. Here's Alex.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Another fine day by and large, a little bit less hot than recent days. A pleasant summer's day for most. There is the chance of seeing a shower, but if you're after rain, well, I'm afraid to say that most places won't see any all weekend. The odd shower across the east of England with thicker cloud here, and inland we'll see a bit more cloud today over northern England, Wales, parts of the Midlands, and here again too, one or two isolated but potentially heavy showers could develop. Most places fine and bright with sunny spells. Not as hot across the south, but we still get up to 24, 25 degrees. So still feeling pretty warm in that sunshine. Always a little cooler along some of these North Sea coasts with the breeze coming in, continuing to feed in some cloud at times for Lincolnshire and East Anglia. A greater chance through the late afternoon and evening of the odd shower over South Wales and South West England, but they will be very hit and miss. But if we do see one, could be quite a potent downpour. Most of Northern Ireland, most of Scotland having a pretty pleasant summer's evening with a bit of a brisk northerly breeze across the far north, keeping temperatures a little lower here. Temperatures will dip away quite a bit on Saturday evening, so bear that in mind if you are heading out this evening. It will turn quite fresh quite quickly under largely clear skies. Still a bit of a northerly breeze blowing along the east coast, maybe some thicker cloud heading towards the northwest of Scotland, but generally clear skies, and those temperatures quite a bit lower than they have been over recent nights. Towns and cities in the north dropping down to 10 or 11 Celsius, but rural spots will be well below that, so well down into single figures. Sunday's another fine day by and large. Yes, a fresh start, but then sunny spells for most, a bit more cloud in the east again, one or two showers over northern Scotland perhaps, but generally the wind's light, plenty of sunny spells, and after that coolish start, temperatures in the afternoon for most places getting back into the 20s, mid-20s across the south. Bye for now.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things at the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories. And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And meeting your favourite presenters across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's 6:26. Good morning. Now, the mother of Vikram Digwa has been sentenced to 3 years in prison for aiding her son by removing the murder weapon, the knife, from the scene of the killing of Henry Novak.
She's 53. She's called Kiran Kaur, and she was found guilty at Southampton Crown Court in May for the charge was assisting an offender.
Well, the prosecution told the court her role was crucial in removing the murder weapon from the scene.
Now, as I'm sure you don't need reminding, Vikram Digwa attacked Henry Novak in December last year using a Sikh ceremonial knife, before then falsely claiming that he'd been the victim of a racist attack.
Let's speak to crime journalist David Shipley. David, good morning to you. What do you make of this sentence? I mean, she'll be out in, 12, 15 months or so. It doesn't seem a particularly long time when you look at actually the seriousness of what she did.
Well, actually, she'll probably be out quicker than that. So under the new sentencing regime, she would only serve a third of the sentence in prison, assuming she behaves herself. And she would also be eligible for release on tag towards the end of the sentence for the last 6 months. It's quite plausible she'll only spend 6 months in custody before being released on tag.
Now, a lot of people feel that that doesn't reflect the severity of the crime and, in actual fact, the sheer disgustingness of what she did.
I would agree. I think clearly what's gone on here is that Vikram Digwa tried to get away with murder. He tried to construct a narrative that he'd been attacked by Henry Novak. He got, his mother then took the weapon away. This was obviously an attempt to somehow completely evade justice. And I don't think 3 years is anything like enough for that.
No, I mean, this is the thing, assisting an offender. I mean, they may well be limited in what they can charge somebody with, in one sense. Quite how it all works is a bit of a mystery to all of us, I think. But the fact you are, in effect, trying to prevent your son from being arrested for killing somebody, it's absolutely outrageous. I mean, and surely no reasonable parent in the country, as much as you may love your child, would think that's the right thing to do.
Of course they wouldn't. And I think, I did actually look up the sentencing guidelines for assisting an offender. They go to a max of 10 years, but that's generally only, actually, if it's a crime like murder, you're supposed to be towards the top end of it. So I think the judge has been relatively soft compared to the sentencing guidelines here, even what we all might think.
I mean, the judge may well have looked at her and thought, poor little lady, poor little old lady. But she isn't old. She's 53. 53 is not old. And it just seems so minimalist, doesn't it, that sentence? It doesn't reflect what we as a nation feel of the horror of the crime and the fact that she was complicit. Maybe not in the actual crime itself, but certainly in covering up and obstructing justice.
Well, yes, and I think the key thing as well, so the knife had been taken away by her before the police arrived, right? So that video we've all seen of the police arriving and talking to Vikram Digwa and, you know, arresting Henry Novak. She'd already been and gone at that stage. And I think there's still quite a lot of mystery and uncertainty. Like, you know, how long was Henry lying there bleeding out while this happened? You know, this woman actually came along, saw Henry presumably on the floor bleeding to death, and her son then persuaded her to take his knife away. And she went, okay, I'll do that. She didn't phone an ambulance. She didn't do anything to try to help the dying boy in front of her. It's a really, I think, morally repugnant crime when you actually start to think about what happened. It's not just that her son turned up one day and said, oh, hey, can you just hold on to this for me, Mum? She came to the scene of the crime. She saw what happened, and then she decided to try and cover it up.
I mean, do you know? I don't know what other laws would cover this in the UK. I mean, certainly in the United States, you would actually be. You could look at this situation and certainly consider actually charging her with murder in and of itself, with not assisting someone who had been stabbed in that way. I mean, they look at it in a very different, much more severe way, don't they?
Yeah, and, you know, we do in some cases in the UK use joint enterprise law to prosecute sort of, you know, everyone present at a scene, everyone involved in the commission of a crime, and so everyone gets prosecuted with murder. That's something the CPS does, which I think is quite hard and subtle hard to discern and subtle unless you're focusing on it, is that their charging decisions are often very significant. So they will choose to charge someone with a more serious or less serious crime, and instantly that will set, you know, the maximum sentence they could possibly get. And, you know, for example, gangs of young drug-dealing men who get involved in these sorts of killings often all get charged under joint enterprise law with murder. Now, that clearly hasn't happened here, and it'd be interesting to understand, you know, what the narrative is for that within the CPS and why they made those sorts of decisions. Can this be appealed? I mean, in terms of the sentencing being too lenient? I believe this is an offence which is eligible for an unduly lenient sentence review. And it does seem, like I said, if you look at the sentencing guidelines, even within the framework we have, it does look a little bit on the light side. And I think he's sort of taking into account the fact that she's probably unlikely to reoffend. Well, yes, I mean, we would hope that none of her other sons are going to kill someone and then ask her to hide a knife. But I don't think that changes the seriousness of the offence.
Okay. It certainly doesn't. And it doesn't change the disgust, I think, that the rest of us and their own Sikh community feel about it. I mean, this is a family that don't deserve to be here, I was going to say, but a lot of people are saying they should be deported, full stop. But
I mean, I think that's certainly reasonable for the ones who've been convicted, yeah. You know, I think it would be, if you violate the you know, the rules and laws of your host society this badly, I think that is a reasonable thing for us to do. Okay. David, appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks
very
much
indeed. I mean, he put a really interesting point to that. I hadn't thought of it in the terms of the fact she has turned up at the scene, been handed a bloody knife, seen that someone's been stabbed, and didn't call the ambulance. I mean, why would
That's not the actions of a decent parent. It doesn't matter what your background or belief. It's just not the actions of a proper parent.
No.
Or a proper human being, really. What an appalling thing. As he just said, Henry Novak must have been there in front of her. She must have seen what he was suffering.
The knife's not bloody for nothing, is it? Someone had clearly been stabbed.
Oh, well, the whole
beggars belief.
It really
beggars
does,
belief.
doesn't it?
Right, still to come, changing gear entirely, because England's head coach, Thomas Tuchel, says he has no regrets when it comes to the loss against Argentina. You can find out exactly what he said in just a moment.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday Five.
You got me. You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight on the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At the stroke of midnight, the news doesn't stop, and neither do we.
Day in, day out. Forget stuffy late night TV shows. We're giving you a front row ticket to the centre of the political universe.
Because breaking news doesn't wait for the morning.
And neither do we. Join us for one of the most controversial and volatile times of politics in human history.
A very big story.
Big story over here.
You won't get this anywhere else. The Late Show live at midnight, every night.
Only on GB News.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
The Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's tonight, late edition.
Alex Armstrong tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Right, Aidan's here with all the... I was looking for a sports list. I haven't got one. What have you got?
Oh, sorry, I've got one for you here.
Oh, thanks.
So I should have given it to you. There's a few there.
But we're talking mostly about Thomas Tuchel, aren't we?
Yes,
and his
we are.
reaction to everything.
Yeah, he's in double down mode, it would appear. He gave a press conference early this morning in Miami ahead of tonight's bronze medal match, as we call it now. It's basically a race for third and fourth place. Now, we all saw what happened the other night. The inquest, the recriminations will go on for some time yet. England playing perfectly well up until the 54th minute. You watched it, Anne, didn't you?
Yeah.
Anthony Gordon gives them the lead, and then they just retreat into their shell. They do not give anything in terms of...
No, not his fault, though. It's not his fault.
You know, either way, it doesn't look good.
It's just the way the Brits play.
Yeah, I know. DNA, he said, didn't he? I mean, what does that even mean? I'm not even sure. It's not something the way you play football is not something you're born with, is it? But look, I just think it doesn't look good either way, Anne, does it? Because if you look at it during the match, his in-game decisions, you can criticise him if you want. He said, I have no regrets. We'll hear from him in a moment. He said, if you want to blame someone, blame me. Now, if you're going to play that way, if you're going to bank up, if you're going to get everyone into your half, into your penalty box, basically, you need an outball, because you need to give the defenders a breather now and again. When Glenn Hoddle did this in '98 against Argentina, they had 10 men, there was an excuse, but they had Michael Owen, they had Alan Shearer able to hold the ball, they were able to get out, they were able to relieve the pressure on their defenders. This lot literally had nothing. He brought in extra defenders to cope with it. Now, he said that the players didn't respond well, they were too passive, they didn't hold the ball well enough. But here's what he said earlier today when he put these questions in a very tense press conference.
If you're asking if I regret my decision, if this is the question, then say no, I don't regret my decisions, because I felt that we become too passive. I felt that we the momentum switches in the match, and I tried to help my team. I tried to support. I took a decision, I took several decisions, trusting my instinct, my intuition, my experience, trusting my competitiveness, and I took the decision in order to help the team and get the result. We didn't get the result, so I take, of course, the responsibility.
Self-preservation mode, isn't it?
Well,
he sounds like a politician.
Yeah.
Well, he's a politician in some ways.
I think he's talking himself out of a job.
I do as well. And now, if he's right and the players didn't respond, well, what does that say? That means that he got to the water break, which no other manager in the World Cup history prior to this tournament has ever benefited from. That way, you don't just break up the play, you don't just disrupt the opposition's momentum, you get a chance to impart what you want to say. All the words he talked about there, I don't think the players were having him, which doesn't reflect well on them, by the way. So where do you go from here? Now, everyone's saying, including him, that they don't want to play this match tonight. France don't want to play it. There's not enough riding on it. Now, I'll give you something else that was interesting to me. There are 7,000 tickets available on the FIFA website as of now for this game tonight, priced between £346 and £657. They're not going to go anywhere very quickly at that price, I would suggest. He may be right. There's no appetite for it. I think the pubs will be quite busy tonight, though. I really do. But if they lose significantly tonight, against one, and they're shown up against one of the best teams in the world, which France are. I know they lost to Spain and so forth. But if they lose badly tonight, I don't see how he can continue. We might even see Kevin Keegan, September 2000, resigning in the toilets after the final game at Wembley.
Tell me about that. What?
So that was
that.
No.
It was the final game at Wembley. He's a refreshingly honest man, Kevin Keegan.
Yeah.
David Davis was the CEO of the FA at the time, and he said this in his book. He said, what I loved about Kevin was the enthusiasm. Now, they lost against Germany at home to a scuffed Dietmar Hamann free kick. It put them on the back foot for qualifying. They had to go to Germany a year later to win 5-1 to redeem it under Sven-Göran Eriksson. But Kevin Keegan, to all intents and purposes, came out after the game, and this was the final one at the old Wembley. It was quite a commemorative occasion, and said, this job is too much for me. I cannot cope with... I don't get it. And he just resigned on the spot.
Wow. Yeah.
And walked away. And there was no staying around looking for payouts or compensation or anything like that. He just said, I've had enough. Yeah. And he went out. He had a good career after that. Great man, Kevin Keegan. But Thomas Tuchel in 2026.
So you suspect he might?
If they lose 2 or 3-0 or 3-0 maybe, and they're really shown up in a bad light, I think
he held his hands up and said, "We didn't get this right." I think he could have been all right. He could have turned it round. But it's the fact he's deflecting on everything.
But he was brought in for the big moments. If Gareth Southgate had done this, the recriminations would be even worse. He's a dinosaur, etc. He's brought in on this £5 million a year to say that in the really big moments, he would have the answers. And he was found wanting big time. And I did not want to say that because I like him. I really do.
But if you were listening, as I was to the commentary, Wayne Rooney, for instance,
yes.
He said the minute he saw those substitutions, he said, "Oh no!"
I know. Well,
there was an instinctive reaction from other footballers.
It's often said that hindsight is a wonderful thing. Well, you and I could see in real time what was happening. I could see what was unfolding half an hour from the end. It's a hell of a long time to go defending like that, and it shouldn't be England's instinct, and it shouldn't be their ambition.
No.
And I'm hugely disappointed.
Right.
We all are.
All right, Aidan. Thank you. More from Aidan a little bit later on.
However, to cheer you up, let's talk the great British giveaway now. You could bank 60 grand in tax-free cash and, of course, that gold bar. Here's how to take part.
What would you do with £60,000 cash? What would you do with a real gold bar? Well, both have to be won in our Golden Summer celebration. First, there's £60,000 in tax-free cash to bolster your bank account this year. You could spend it on treats, splash out on the family, or just save it for a rainy day. It's entirely up to you. Plus, we'll also give you a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. That's genuine gold that you could gift to a loved one or just lock up in your own personal vault. The gold and the cash really could be yours. For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yeah, best of luck. We've got the papers heading away shortly with Susan Holder and Sebastian Selick. There they are. First, so here's your European forecast.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations forecast.
Lots of sunshine around the Mediterranean through this weekend and beyond. Still very hot in Croatia and Italy, but temperatures here into next week just dipping off a little bit. Hot and sunny too for most of Greece and Turkey. There's small chance of 1 or 2 isolated heavy showers across the far northeast of Italy. Most of Iberia also dry and sunny. Here too, temperatures just dipping a little bit. Sunny spells across the Canaries. Lots more sunshine to come into next week, but particularly for Rome and Dubrovnik, those temperatures just dipping.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
Olympian Sharon Davies. Sharon, thanks so much for joining us this morning. I think this is preposterous that we're banning Sports Day for kids, and our viewers are obviously also thinking this is completely bonkers. But is there a case to be made that perhaps we should be looking after young people when the heat is quite extreme in many people's cases, they'll say? What do you think, Sharon?
I think looking after our kids is making them resilient and giving them a sports day. I mean, sport in schools has been relegated year on year on year, and it's so depressing. You know, it's such an important part of young people's lives. Give them a hat, give them some sunscreen, make sure they're drinking plenty of water, stick them in the shade when they're not, actually having a little race. This is all about just kids getting used to life, and wrapping them in cotton wool is not the answer.
The People's Channel. Britain's newsroom. Weekday mornings from 9:30.
So you go along to the car showroom and only like 10% at most, maybe 15 pay cash. The rest buy on some form of financing. And you often buy, it's a bit like a mortgage, and it's like buying a mortgage from the estate agent, which we all know is a terribly bad idea. Yeah. But this is what people did. And the deal is, the scandal is, the guys in the showroom were acting as dealers and brokers, and they were in many cases inflating the interest rate that you paid so that they could get bigger commission. And they didn't declare that. So you basically ended up paying more for your car than you would otherwise have done if you'd gone into the open market and found yourself, a better deal.
How did that come to light?
Well, over many years. I mean, this has been going on since 2007.
GB News, the People's Channel. GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
Ruth Ellis was executed on the 13th of July 1955. She was convicted of murdering a partner, David Blakely. There's been a long campaign about what to do about all of that. She has now had a conditional pardon, which would mean she would have been sentenced to life rather than sentenced to death. So it's a significant move, but what do her family make of it? Well, her grandson, Stephen Beard, is here alongside solicitor Grace Horton. Good to see you both this morning. I mean, look, from a family perspective, Stephen, what does this mean?
It's huge. It was a monumental day yesterday. In essence, it's the removal of a negative blotch in our family history. We have effectively rewritten history because ultimately, for the last 70-odd years, the truth hasn't been known.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Right, we're looking through the newspapers in the company of Sebastian Salek and Susan Holder. It's lovely to see you both. Good to see you. And we're starting with Andy Burnham.
Yes.
In the Times.
As if you're not completely...
What's he pledging?
Well, we don't really know, do we? Apart from the fact
Susan, we do.
Well, he's pledging to take us...
hope in every heart.
Is that what it is?
There's a song in there somewhere.
I thought you were going to break into song. He's pledging to take us back to the 70s. Now, that might be good in some ways, I think. Definitely musically, or maybe even the fashion.
Definitely musically.
But that's not what it's all about, is it? And as somebody who kind of distantly remembers the 70s, although I was quite little, but I know a lot of people who were around in the 70s. And if we're going to talk about music in the 70s, my husband was a musician in the 70s and paid 96 pence in the pound in tax.
Oh, God,
because that's what Labour do. That's how they are.
That's when the brain drain really happens.
And that is what happens. They're going to have to find money from somewhere if they've got all the plans that they want to do. And the way they do it is they tax people into oblivion. And that's what worries me. There are quite a lot of good things being spoken about. I do think if he is going to reform social care, if he is going to build more council houses, I don't obviously agree with everything that Thatcher did, so I think if there are some things to look at there to go back on, I'm not saying I'm against all of that, but it comes down with Labour to tax. It always does.
But it's difficult when he's being so critical of the 80s. When I mean, I know it was far from universally popular, of course, and it was very controversial.
But the economy was strong.
But we were screwed in the 70s, and Thatcher dragged it back.
Yeah. That is it. And people have very short memories or weren't alive and don't remember. Yeah. And we all said before Labour got in this time, a lot of us who got to remember, we know what they're going to do. And they went even further and faster than we thought. Look what happened to Starmer. Let's see what Burnham does. But at the moment, there's no meat on the bones of what he's going to do. We can't talk too much about what he's going to do because he hasn't told us.
I mean, look, we can relitigate the 70s and 80s all we like. Personally, I wasn't there, so I don't have a clue. But the point is, we're in 2026 now, and we can look at the legacy of what Thatcher has left us. Housing, massive housing crisis. No one's winning from that. Water, we're all paying out the nose for our bills. Energy. Is that really working? Transport, highest train prices in Europe. So there's a lot to fix, and I think that's what Burnham's getting at.
But the problem is, and that's all, they're fair comments, but if you don't remember what it was like when they were nationalised and how I mean, heck, British Rail was a disaster.
I suppose everything is a reaction against what's happened before.
Well, it is, and the trouble is, one thing doesn't work, so you do the opposite. That doesn't work, so there's a lot of flick-flacking going on. Well, that's politics in itself, isn't it? We just flick-flack back and forth, and nothing ever improves.
Let's look forward then, Sebastian, in the Telegraph, the story about Angela Rayner being possibly Health Secretary.
Yeah, so this is a big flank of what Burnham wants to do, social care reform. Many a brave Prime Minister has tried over the years, and it's blown back in their faces. It just hasn't worked. And he uses the language, I want to expend a lot of political capital. Well, that's what it's going to take, and it's probably a good time to do it early when you have that political capital. I say this as somebody who was recently a councillor, and adult social care was the hardest thing because councils have to fund it. It's only getting more expensive, and there's only more demand for it. So you're in this horrible crunch that everybody loses out from, even if you're not using adult social care, because that budget gets redirected there and away from other local services like parks and libraries.
And it does need to be dealt with, there's no doubt, but we know that Burnham, when he's mentioned it before, and particularly when he was Health Secretary, what he was looking at was a death tax.
Yeah.
Well, currently, you get quite a lot paid for you, and so we have to look at, is everybody who is getting that money from the state someone who needs it?
Well, yes, but
we do have to look at that, but why is it always pensioners who seem to cop for that, and not people who kind of... that always seems to be the way we have culture now thinking that all pensioners are wealthy because they may have a pension, they may have saved something, and it's hit repeatedly. And pensions in itself are...
Of course, not all pensioners are wealthy, but on average, as a group, they are wealthy. And in politics, you have to look at groups.
Well, you do, but the issue you've got is, and this is, people want to save, right? And we're always told, you've got to save for your retirement, you've got to, you don't want to be reliant on the state, you've got to live a good life, save your money, and also people have a real passion about passing some money down to their children. And even under the current state of affairs, I mean, what you drag down to, you can only end up leaving about 17,000 or 18,000, and the rest is used on your social care. So you're not paying the government doesn't step in until you're down to your last few quid, basically. So where's the aspiration in society now? Where is any aspiration to do well, to achieve lots, to leave stuff for your kids?
But the point is, somebody has to pick up the tab. And if you're very, very rich, why should the state pay all the way?
It's not about
the very, very rich. But it's not about the very. It's not about the very, very rich. We all agree the very, very rich need to pay a certain amount of taxes. The trouble is the very, very rich don't, because they have ways around it, or they have offshore, or they have very clever lawyers and accountants who get them out of it. It's normal people who earn... I mean, there's stories in all the papers say how it's actually going to be teachers and nurses and everybody else. And people who do try to put a little bit away to save, because we're being told I was told at 22 there'll be no pension by the time you're pensionable age. That was 30 odd years ago. They're still telling it people now.
Yeah.
So what did I do? I took all my money. I kind of opted out, as you could then. I tried to get a private pension going, but now you try and do that and they come and hit you with that as well. But what are we meant to do?
Well, this will be something that Angela Rayner can get to grips with because she is a former care worker.
She is a former care worker.
Yeah, but that doesn't actually mean that you're going to be any good as health secretary, does it?
It doesn't mean you are, but I do actually have a little bit more time for people who have some experience in the area that they're in, because we so often don't have that.
All right, you two. Thank you very much. We'll see you a little bit later.
Right, now let's get the weather with Alex.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Another fine day by and large, a little bit less hot than recent days. A pleasant summer's day for most. There is the chance of seeing a shower, but if you're after rain, well, I'm afraid to say that most places won't see any all weekend. The odd shower across the east of England with thicker cloud here, and inland we'll see a bit more cloud today over northern England, Wales, parts of the Midlands, and here again too, one or two isolated but potentially heavy showers could develop. Most places fine and bright with sunny spells. Not as hot across the south, but we still get up to 24, 25 degrees. So still feeling pretty warm in that sunshine. Always a little cooler along some of these North Sea coasts with the breeze coming in, continuing to feed in some cloud at times for Lincolnshire and East Anglia. A greater chance through the late afternoon and evening of the odd shower over South Wales and South West England, but they will be very hit and miss. But if we do see one, could be quite a potent downpour. Most of Northern Ireland, most of Scotland having a pretty pleasant summer's evening with a bit of a brisk northerly breeze across the far north, keeping temperatures a little lower here. Temperatures will dip away quite a bit on Saturday evening, so bear that in mind if you are heading out this evening. It will turn quite fresh quite quickly under largely clear skies. Still a bit of a northerly breeze blowing along the east coast, maybe some thicker cloud heading towards the northwest of Scotland, but generally clear skies, and those temperatures quite a bit lower than they have been over recent nights. Towns and cities in the north dropping down to 10 or 11 Celsius, but rural spots will be well below that, so well down into single figures. Sunday's another fine day by and large. Yes, a fresh start, but then sunny spells for most, a bit more cloud in the east again, one or two showers over northern Scotland perhaps, but generally the wind's light, plenty of sunny spells, and after that coolish start, temperatures in the afternoon for most places getting back into the 20s, mid-20s across the south. Bye for now.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
What would you do with £60,000 cash? What would you do with a real gold bar? Well, both have to be won in our Golden Summer celebration. First, there's £60,000 in tax-free cash to bolster your bank account this year. Plus, we'll also give you a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
because
the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Andy Burnham vows to revive Britain as he becomes the new leader of the Labour Party.
The Makerfield MP uses his inaugural speech to pledge the most significant political change for a generation.
We can be that party, the party that puts more power in people's hands, drives good growth in every postcode, and puts hope in every heart. That's my mission as your new leader, to bring back hope.
Well, it raises an awful lot of questions, doesn't it? But will Burnham's message of hope translate to actual change?
And then, of course, there's reports circulating, of course, about Burnham's potential cabinet picks. For instance, could Angela Rayner be set to make a comeback to cabinet as Britain's next health secretary?
In other news, the White House has backed Argentina's football team after players held up a Falkland Islands banner following their World Cup semi-final against England.
Messi is one of the greatest of all time. And in terms of the ability, the opportunity to be able to make, those statements, they have the ability to do that in the United States of America.
Henry Novak's family release a statement after his killer's mother is jailed, but only for 3 years, for removing the murder weapon from the scene of the crime.
Denmark has announced plans to ban burqas in schools and universities. We're asking this morning, should we follow suit?
England boss Thomas Tuchel says defeat is a scar we carry as he looks ahead to the bronze medal match against France in Miami tonight. Elsewhere, there's been controversy at the Open, and tributes are paid to Gary Sobers, who's died at the age of 89.
A fine weekend for most, with plenty of sunny spells. Not quite as hot as recent days. Join me later for a full forecast, but I'll warn you now, if you're looking for rain for your garden, you'll probably be disappointed.
It's just gone 7 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Just like the Gladiators, I am ready.
And that was his main theme, I think, Andy Burnham.
Andy Burnham.
Yeah.
I am ready.
He looks very pleased. I was going to say with himself, but a lot of people have pointed that out, that he's almost looking a bit smug. But then I suppose he has had an easy ride so far.
He does look a bit smug. I mean, look, I'm a bit reluctant to criticise him before he's even got in the job. However, we don't know what anything that he stands for. He is now officially the leader of the Labour Party. He'll become Prime Minister on Monday.
Well, maybe he's saving it for that. Maybe he's keeping his powder dry. No, I just mean that, he's being criticised for not actually telling us who he is or what he's about now. Maybe he's saving that for Monday.
Well, maybe, and that's an argument you could use, but the problem with it is now we have a Prime Minister and we don't know what he stands for, and he wasn't elected at the last election, so he's not tied into the manifesto. So what actually is he going to do?
Give us hope.
And all we're hearing,
I think we had hope last time.
Growth in every postcode and hope in every heart. Da, da,
Yes,
da, da, da. I mean, honestly, it's...
And a good soundbite, that's what it's all about nowadays.
It is, but what none of it means, and it's word salad at the minute. Anyway, how ready is he, really? This is what he had to say.
We can be that party, the party that puts more power in people's hands, drives good growth in every postcode and puts hope in every heart, that gets the country pulling together again and moves beyond the divisions of recent years. All people and all places, public and private sectors, in a new sense of unity and common cause. That's my mission as your new leader, to bring back hope.
I'm pretty sure I remember Keir Starmer saying that. Anyway, that was his speech. And when you think about it, he was speaking there to the Labour Party, to the Labour faithful. So maybe he'll get a bit more gutsy in front of his podium on Monday.
Maybe. He's talking about a new kind of politics. Well, we hear that a lot, don't we? We've got that from Jeremy Corbyn, of course. He's going to do a new type of politics. That went well. And a bit like Jeremy Corbyn said, he wants to have less political point scoring.
I will be a leader for the North, the South, the East and the West, for Scotland, Wales and for Northern Ireland.
Yes, he also vowed to make his party distinctly Labour, saying he wouldn't try to out-green the Greens or out-reform reform.
First on the list, though, of jobs to do on Monday, when he is actually, after he's seen the King, he's got to choose his cabinet or announce his cabinet, because he must know what he's doing. So there's lots of speculation mounting over who will fill the top jobs.
And you'll love this one because he's talking about... Well, no, everybody else is talking about possibly Angela Rayner making a return to cabinet as Health Secretary.
Yes. Let's talk to political commentator Duncan Barks. Morning, Duncan.
Morning.
I mean, the problem with all of this is we keep saying, and I don't want to be someone who's constantly having a dig, but it's the fact that we don't actually know what's going on with the man who will be leading our country on Monday morning, and he's not even taking any questions.
No, I mean, Andy Burnham has done a fantastic first-class job of avoiding any real scrutiny over the last several weeks. And the clues were there. So you go back to after he won the Makerfield by-election, he did a speech, took no questions from the media. Right. Then he did a speech at the People's Museum in Manchester. No questions from the media. And it's not just about the media, but, you know, we have a part to play in holding any MP, / future Prime Minister to account. So he managed to avoid any questions there. What he has done is he's been involved in some very tightly controlled situations. So he did a Q&A on a social media chat forum called Reddit, OK, where his aides selected the questions that he would have to answer.
Yes, they said, ask any question
Ask me anything.
But what they didn't mention is that we'll pick the ones we want to answer.
Exactly. So it was tightly controlled. He did a radio interview of a guy called Andrew Marr that was pretty cosy, not particularly challenging. I think that's a fair assessment. We've had these various videos that have appeared on his social media platforms, which haven't really talked about policy. It's all about the kind of like what you might call the lighter stuff of Andy Burnham. So we discovered the other day that he doesn't believe you should have a Yorkshire pudding with your Christmas dinner.
Well, that's just mad anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a long debate, Stephen, to be had. But also, you know, and there are questions like, what goes in a cup of tea first, milk or the hot water? And he was like, well, I put the milk in first because it softens the tea bag. I don't want to know about this stuff. I want to know...
That also is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. I want to know, and I think everyone in the nation wants to know, is what is your plan? And he's avoided any real scrutiny. I mean, he did something a couple of days ago in Cardiff where, you might have seen this, where he took questions from people in the street, and there was like 2 chairs on the pavement, and people could go up and ask him anything. Great. What we ended up with was 2.5 minutes of a very edited social media video, which was very slick and very warm. Of
course it is. You're going to edit out all the bad ones.
Well, what is bad stuff, though? Is it people just going, what are you going to do about immigration? What are you going to do about this? I suspect they featured the stuff that he didn't really, or the stuff he really wanted to talk about, not the challenging issues that exist. So he has avoided a massive amount of scrutiny. He gets the top job officially on Monday. He needs to be everywhere everywhere. He needs to be here on GB News talking to Chopper, Chris Hope. He needs to be here on The Breakfast Show. He needs to be explaining to people in the country, one, who he is, because I think a lot of people still don't really know who Andy Burnham is, because the interest in this is not the same as a general election. We have a new Prime Minister who you could argue has got in by stealth in many ways. He needs to explain to people what he's about and also his vision for the country. He needs to be everywhere. And whilst it's a great soundbite going, I'm going to go out and about and talk to people, that's all well and good, but he can't cover the whole UK. So he needs to be doing a media blitz where we all get to ask him, what are you doing about this? What do you think about that?
But I mean, that speech he gave there where he talked about, what was the phrase? Power to every postcode.
And hope in every heart.
And hope in every heart.
Climb every mountain.
Schmaltz. Isn't it? So, I mean, is that all he is, do you think? Is he just soundbite?
I reserve judgment because I will take a view after Monday. By Monday evening, I think we'll have a real sense as to where this Burnham Premiership is going to go. But at the moment, it does seem very lighty, very light, very vibey, and very kind of soundbitey, with no real gravitas or any real muscle behind what he may or may not do. And I think the electorate deserve better, to be honest with you.
Yeah. All right, Duncan. Thank you very much indeed. You will all have a view, I'm sure. And you'll let us know at gbnews.com/your say.
Now, you may remember that earlier in the week, after Argentinian players held up a Falklands banner following their win over England, sorry to remind you of that, in the World Cup semi-final, the Lib Dems waded in on the debate.
Yes, the party leader, Sir Ed Davey, encouraged FIFA to ban the players from the final against Spain.
Yeah, now the Lib Dems are going one step further by calling UEFA to completely withdraw from FIFA. Have I got that the right way around?
Yeah.
Yes, right. Declaring the governing body is corrupt beyond repair.
Well, let's talk to the Lib Dems Education, Children and Family spokesperson, Munira Wilson. Good morning to you. Nice to see you.
Good morning.
This is a very big step that you're proposing. Why do something quite so radical?
Well, look, as a football fan myself, I know that there are millions of football fans in this country and around the world, and many commentators who feel that FIFA really is beyond the pale now, with corruption rife, and we've seen that right at the fore in this World Cup, with Donald Trump having a direct line to Infantino to overturn a red card, with massive price gouging, pricing genuine fans out of the game, these hydration breaks for commercial reasons, but that comes on the back of years of questionable decisions around FIFA. And so we're calling on the FA to work with UEFA to withdraw from a body that we feel no longer really serves the game or its supporters, to set up a new body that puts fans and federations at its heart, and transparency and accountability to the fore.
I suppose a lot of people watching right now who have been football fans for a very long time will feel that, I don't know, yes, they would agree with you, except that they know it ain't going to happen, because nowadays it's all about money, isn't it?
Well, it is all about money, and that's why we think it's really important to start this conversation. You know, this is England. Remember, we created the beautiful game, and so I think we should take a global leadership role in trying to make sure that its integrity is not undermined, and that it serves the fans and the federations, and not commercial corporate interests or political interests. Because at the moment, you've got a situation where those countries with the deepest pockets and the most powerful leaders are able, frankly, to influence the decisions of FIFA, as we saw with the overturning of the red card, as we saw with the lack of FIFA challenging decisions by the US government to allow some referees in who were meant to be coming to work and participate in the World Cup, as indeed we're seeing today with the US government saying that FIFA, you know, that the Argentinians were within their rights to be able to make political statements about the Falklands after England sadly lost to Argentina earlier in the week. This is absolutely beyond the pale. We deserve an international football body that puts fans and federations at its heart and is transparent and accountable.
Yeah, but it's how you go about forming that, because I mean the big problem you've got right now, and because most people would agree with you, there are very big questions around FIFA. There's lots of questionable stuff going on. However, they do run things like the World Cup. And if we pull out of it, doesn't mean everybody else is. And frankly, a lot of the countries just won't.
No, and that's why I'm not suggesting this would be a unilateral decision. And look, Parliament and government don't have an authority over this. Those governing bodies are rightly independent. We are just wanting to start a conversation to say, look, UEFA has actually rightly been quite critical of FIFA over some of these decisions, particularly, for example, over the overturning of red card. They haven't reiterated their support for Infantino to be re-elected as president. So I would like to see the FA working within UEFA to work with other governing bodies, because actually it's often some of the smaller governing bodies of countries around the world whose interests are overlooked in the way that FIFA is run. So I think UEFA could constructively work with other football federations around the world to make a decisive break away from fans. And this would need to be underpinned by an international football fan charter that we've all previously called for, again, to make sure that the game and the federations are working for the benefit of fans and for the game, and not those commercial and political interests.
Of course, it's the game tonight against France to see who comes in third place. Are you remotely interested in that? Apparently there are still lots of tickets for sale.
Well, look, it's the match that no team wants to play, and of course I'll watch it. I'm a massive football fan. I've watched every single minute of England on the pitch in this World Cup, and I was devastated, like many others, on Wednesday night. And so I will watch it, but I can understand why both fans and players' hearts aren't in it. Ultimately, I wanted us to be there in New York tomorrow night, playing Spain and lifting that cup for the first time in 60 years. So, of course I'll watch it. I'm feeling a bit bereft, actually, with both Wimbledon having finished and so few matches left of the World Cup.
Oh, me too.
So, I probably will watch it.
It's not how we wanted it to end, is it?
Tonight. No.
Nevertheless, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, interesting comments coming in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some people saying, obviously, FIFA is corrupt, etc., etc. Paul says it's Lib Dem wokery, just having a dig at the USA again. Well, I don't know that that's necessarily a fair comment. I know the Lib Dems are not fans of Trump, but nevertheless, I have to say I'm a bit affronted by the White House now saying, well, the Argentinians can do what they like in America.
Free speech.
But it's not in FIFA rules,
and it is against
it?
the rules, absolutely. And yet nothing's happened.
No, nothing will. I mean,
nothing will.
Paul was saying yesterday, nothing will happen until after the final, and then they'll get a fine.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really mean anything. But Brian says, come on, Spain, give them Argies a whacking.
Well, yes.
I hope so.
Yeah, that's what Keir Starmer said, doesn't he? So I wish both teams luck on Sunday, especially Spain.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, honestly...
One thing you might agree with Keir Starmer on.
Well, yes. I think most of the country will agree with the Prime Minister on that one.
Former Prime Minister. Or not yet.
Not yet. No. He's got a bit more than 24 hours left in the job, hasn't he? 48 and a bit.
Yeah. So the King will meet him. The King will say thank you very much for a couple of years of service. And then Andy Burnham will be shown in.
Yes.
And maybe the King will say, who are you? And what do you stand for?
The King... Well, I'll tell you what, the King might well say, what do you stand for? What are you going to do?
Because I don't know.
Yeah, I mean... Fair question. He's going to have to answer the King, isn't he? Maybe he'll say to the King, well, I'm going to put hope in every heart, Your Majesty.
Yes, and power in every postcode.
Oh, well, it might all work out. You never know. 17 minutes past 7. In other news today, the mother of Henry Novak's killer has been sentenced to 3 years in prison for removing a knife from the scene of the crime. 53-year-old Kieran Carr was found guilty of assisting an offender.
President Trump has accused Canada of willful negligence after hundreds of wildfires left many of North American states choked by a blanket of smoke. President Trump also threatened new tariffs on Canada if the ongoing blazes are not brought under control.
And the legendary cricketer Sir Gary Sobers has died at the age of 89, widely regarded as one of the finest cricketers of all time. Played for the West Indies for 20 years, making his first Test appearance in 1954.
right at nearly 19 minutes past 7, time for the weather forecast. Unless you've found something.
No, I was just going to say, DA says the King will not meet Burnham. Burnham will meet the King.
Well, absolutely.
And also, someone else has messaged in this second saying Stephen keeps sticking up for Burnham because he's from the north.
Do you?
Well, I'm not. No, I'm not.
I mean, at the moment, you're particularly critical of the fact that we don't know
anything about him. No, well, I mean, we don't. You know, it's what I have said in the past is he's a very nice man. I mean, for those of us who've
remember him,
I've interviewed him loads and loads and loads of times over the years. He's a nice man, but as I keep saying, that's not enough. You can't just get the job because you're a nice man. And what are you going to do with the country? There are lots of nice people I know. It doesn't mean I agree with them.
No, that's right. And every time one talks about him as King of the North, and look at what he did for Manchester, we get equal amounts of people writing in and saying, hang on a minute, I live in Manchester and I'm not impressed. So
it's not universal.
No, and yet he has become Prime Minister on the back of simply winning the Makerfield by-election.
Yeah. It's a very. I've never known a situation like. I know we change prime ministers and it can be happen mid-term and all the rest of it, but to do it in this way, with no scrutiny and no policy and no ties to the last manifesto, I've never known anything like it. I think it's extraordinary.
It's really the first time ever, I think, anything like that.
It just doesn't feel very democratic.
No.
Somehow.
But maybe we'll all be proved wrong on Monday when he makes his speech in front of the door of Number 10.
Maybe, with his brand new podium.
Number 10 South.
Number 10 South.
OK, enough. It is time for the weather now. Here's Alex Deakin.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Another fine day, by and large, a little bit less hot than recent days. A pleasant summer's day for most. There is the chance of seeing a shower, but if you're after rain, well, I'm afraid to say that most places won't see any all weekend. The odd shower across the east of England with thicker cloud here. And inland, we'll see a bit more cloud today over northern England, Wales, parts of the Midlands, and here again too, one or two isolated but potentially heavy showers could develop. Most places fine and bright with sunny spells. Not as hot across the south, but we still get up to 24, 25 degrees. So still feeling pretty warm in that sunshine. Always a little cooler along some of these North Sea coasts with the breeze coming in, continuing to feed in some cloud at times for Lincolnshire and East Anglia. A greater chance through the late afternoon and evening of the odd shower over South Wales and South West England, but they will be very hit and miss. But if we do see one, could be quite a potent downpour. Most of Northern Ireland, most of Scotland having a pretty pleasant summer's evening with a bit of a brisk northerly breeze across the far north, keeping temperatures a little lower here. Temperatures will dip away quite a bit on Saturday evening, so bear that in mind if you are heading out this evening. It will turn quite fresh quite quickly under largely clear skies. Still a bit of a northerly breeze blowing along the east coast, maybe some thicker cloud heading towards the northwest of Scotland, but generally clear skies, and those temperatures quite a bit lower than they have been over recent nights. Towns and cities in the north dropping down to 10 or 11 Celsius, but rural spots will be well below that, so well down into single figures. Sunday's another fine day by and large. Yes, a fresh start, but then sunny spells for most, a bit more cloud in the east again, one or two showers over northern Scotland perhaps, but generally the wind's light, plenty of sunny spells, and after that coolish start, temperatures in the afternoon for most places getting back into the 20s, mid-20s across the south. Bye for now.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Right, still to come, we're going to be talking to Sir Geoffrey Boycott just after 8 o'clock. He's paying tribute to Gary Sobers, who's died at the age of 89.
But first, should Britain take a page out of Denmark's book and ban the burqa? We'll be debating that next.
From
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dawdney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
We can allow.
Stop.
We can allow.
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories. And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And meeting your favourite presenters across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me. What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's Tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong Tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
It's 7:26. Now, the government in Denmark is looking at new legislation to ban burqas to address what they're calling parallel societies.
Denmark first introduced a burqa ban in 2018, and now even stricter rules are going to apply across schools and universities.
So we're asking this morning, should Britain follow in Denmark's footsteps?
Well, joining us now to debate this, Jacob Williams, Head of Domestic Policy at Pickthall House, and broadcaster Fahima Mohamed. A very good morning to both of you. Right, where do we start with this? Let's talk to Jacob, because I think you support a ban on the burqa.
Yes, so as a British Muslim, we think this is a proportional measure. First of all, we point out that the burqa is only worn by a very, very small number of people, that it's not regarded by the vast majority of Muslims as a core religious practice. So the ban would only affect a very small number of people. And there is a proportionate reason to want to restrict wearing the burqa in public, which is that our society does run on facial recognition. It runs on recognising the dignity of each individual and the personality of each individual, which requires them to be facially recognisable. There are obvious practical issues around security with face coverings of all kinds as well. So on the whole, we think it's a sensible measure, but we distinguish this very, very carefully from the hijab, the hair covering, which is totally different, which is a potentially thoroughly British garment. The late Queen wore a similar hair covering. It's not abnormal to cover your hair in public. It's just a modest practice that some individuals choose. And that's a core freedom that should be protected. The burqa, the face covering, is very different, and there are good reasons to want to restrict it in public.
I mean, that's a very reasonable argument, isn't it, Fahima?
Well, I think different countries make different choices based on their own constitutional values. Even France has a strong tradition of laïcité, which is the state secularism, whereas Britain has traditional prioritized, freedom of religion and individual liberty. The fact that another country has chosen to ban doesn't automatically mean it's right for the UK. And when it comes to schools, they already have uniform policies, and they can require clothing that supports safety, identification, communication, and learning. That's very different from banning what adults wear in every public place. Even universities set proportionate rules where identification is necessary for exams, laboratories, clinical placements, or security. So again, but universities are also a place of adult learning and free expression. So any restriction should be specific and justified, not blanket prohibitions. Now, if your concern is education or identity, then make rules for those settings. Why extend it to someone who's walking down the street, shopping, or taking their children to school? There's a difference between the rule for a specific place and giving the government the power to dictate what adults can wear everywhere. There is definitely security. I mean, the question isn't whether you like the burqa. The question is whether the state should have the power to tell peaceful women what they can and cannot wear. And Britain has always balanced liberty and security with security. Wherever there's identification needed in airports, courts, banks, schools, or during police interactions, the law already allows for faces to be uncovered. A blanket ban would be disproportionate between a sort of legality, contentiousness, as well as, risking targeting a tiny minority while creating bigger problems for community cohesion and individual freedoms.
All right, Fahima, you made a very good point. Jacob?
Sure. So I respond to that by saying that, of course, liberty and religious liberty especially are fundamental British values and are extremely important. But this doesn't give you an absolute right to wear what you want in public. We often just forget the fact it's illegal to be naked in public. There is such a thing as public decency. We have standards about what you can wear in public. It's not totalitarian to tell people they can't cover their face in public either. And sure, you can have particular rules in security situations. But you mentioned social cohesion. One of the issues with the burqa is when an individual can't be publicly recognised, they're not really part of the wider community that they're supposedly taking part in public. Their individuality is obscured, and that's a good reason to want to restrict this particular practice.
Firma.
I think where there is certain professions or settings, visibility is required, but a blanket ban, again, especially in public spaces, is not necessarily needed. And it does go against sort of the human rights and Article 9 of the ECHR, which, of course, needs to be lawful, necessary, and proportionate. I mean, at the end of the day, we're also targeting a small minority of women who are not the ones that are sort of criminal. They're not the ones that cause antisocial behavior. There is much more that is required in criminal justice that we should focusing on.
All right, Fahima, and you do make a very valid point. However, David's just come up with a good point, where it's about tolerances and all the rest of it. He says it's nothing to do with religion or culture. It's the subjugation of women which should not be tolerated here, and there is an argument on that has to be looked at, doesn't it? These women are they choosing to wear a burqa? Are they being forced by family or husbands to wear a burqa? Is it subjugation? It must be in some cases.
Well, whether or not that is, when we talk about women oppression, the burqa, at the end of the day, if women are forced to wear it, then their coercion is already illegal. And the answer is protecting women from that, not criminalizing women who choose to wear it. I personally have hosted and sort of interviewed various women, especially revert women, who choose to wear the hijab and the actual burqa, which covers their faces. So there is a choice in the UK which allows women to dress how they want. And like I said, we have much more criminal activity from places and people that we should be focusing on than minority of women that do not cause any harm to society except for choosing to dress more modestly according to their own values and belief. And Muslims are not a monolith. They have different interpretations of how they actually believe. So you cannot have a blanket understanding of Islam either for every single individual woman.
A final response from you, Jacob, on that point.
Well, I agree with much of that. And of course, it's true that there are disagreements among Muslims about things like the burqa and indeed the hijab, and that's completely fine. But I would just say that one of the issues with saying, well, just if someone's forcing you to wear the burqa, then ban that, is, of course, we have laws against this already. Denmark's talking about parallel societies. When you have societies that have their own very, very dense social norms, very, very strong family and communal ties that often are newly arrived and not fully integrated, it's quite difficult to ever enforce the law in potentially private interactions.
But even
like
they have also, there's also evidence to show that even after these bans that have been put in France as well as in Denmark, it has not created more integration. If anything, it's created more sort of like, separation, because again, the focus and the target is against a small minority of people. If there is evidence of that integration, there is none. And that is not really showing.
Okay, we've got to leave it there. Very, very quickly, because I did say final word from Jacob very quickly.
The fundamental issue is you can't be integrated if you're not visible in public. It just symbolises a radical separation from society, and that's the reason we should.
Well, then talk about.
Okay, no, we leave it there. Thank you so much, though. A very, very lively debate on that one.
Interesting, though, but that's how you debate something nicely, in a way. I mean, it might be lively, it might get a bit heated, but it remains polite. A lot of you have got in touch hundreds and hundreds in the last few minutes, so we'll have a look through those in a sec. First, let's have a look at the Great British Giveaway, because you could win that £60,000 in tax-free cash and a genuine, solid, real gold bar. Here's how you take part.
We're celebrating a golden summer with your chance to win a real gold bar. That's right, a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000 could be yours. That's gold that you could keep, trade in, or gift to a loved one to secure their financial future. We're also going to make sure your finances are fabulous with £60,000 in tax-free cash that you can spend on anything you like. And because it's tax-free, every single penny of it will be yours, so don't miss out. For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Best of luck to you on that one.
Yeah, Aidan's coming up. What's coming up, Aidan?
Oh, well, I'll tell you, shall I? Listen, it's the 154th edition of the Open at the Royal Birkdale, and Rory McIlroy is still in contention on what we call Moving Day. We're joined by Neil McClellan after the break.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight on the
unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB Newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Right, Aidan's got the sport for us this morning.
I have indeed, and we've seen some really significant sporting events, haven't we, overshadowed by the mass of the World Cup, haven't we?
Yeah.
One of them is the 154th Open, or the British Open, as they might call it in some parts of Northern Ireland. It's happening at the Royal Birkdale, up in the northwest of England, and it's been an interesting few days. Rory McIlroy is still in contention. Who better to speak to about it than the sports journalist Neil McClellan. Neil, a very good morning to you. Just talk to me about what's been happening with Bryson DeChambeau. To the uninitiated, he's been given a two-shot penalty. How did it happen? Something about grass, trampling the grass. Is that right?
Correct, yes. All this happened late last night. I mean, Bryson DeChambeau finally finished at nearly 8:30 last night. He comes in, signs for his card, was then told he was being hit with a two-shot penalty for inadvertently improving his lie on the fifth hole. His ball went into the rough. He walked behind it to get a view of it. The rules officials viewed that was inadvertently improving your lie. That he fell foul of Rule 8.1. So he was docked 2 shots. He disagreed with it. There was a long discussion. They went back out to the scene of the crime. All this was going on late last night. Bryson suggested he wasn't going to come and play again today. He posted on social media, "This lights my fire." He's going to go back out today, but instead of 1 shot off the lead, he's 3 shots off the lead now.
8.1, Rule 8.1, it can be horrible, can't it? Rory McIlroy, joint 38th on the leaderboard, but not as bad as it sounds. He could possibly make a run today, and what we know is moving day.
Yeah, he's 7 shots back. There are a lot of players in front of him, but this course is gettable. We saw 2 62s yesterday that equalled the record for the majors, Lucas Herbert and Sam Burns. So there are low scores out there. So expect a lot of low scoring, a lot of excitement today, and also it'd be fascinating to see what DeChambeau does. Does DeChambeau go low again? What's the crowd reaction going to be to him? It's going to be a really exciting day.
Talk to me about Lucas Herbert, because one of the things I love about golf, Neil, is that you can just get players that we've not really heard of, the wider sporting public doesn't know. They can come from nowhere and win these events, something you don't really get in other sports. Talk to me about him and whether we can hang on.
Well, exactly. I mean, he is an Australian who's been around for a long time, a journeyman player. He caught 5. He actually had a 4-foot putt on the last hole for a 61, for the first ever 61 in major championships. So he's obviously got momentum going into it as well. Sam Burns, there are so many players just off the lead. So, yeah, Lucas Herbert, him to win it would be a great story.
Talk to me as well about the tournament itself. It probably needs this little bit of daylight on it, doesn't it? Because the World Cup has been all-consuming in recent weeks. Wimbledon suffered to a degree, as you know. I know you were there for a couple of weeks as well. How important is it that golf gets a little bit of a light shone on it?
Well, I think that come the weekend, I think this is the business end of the tournament. As you say, Saturday's moving day. We'll go into the final tomorrow. I mean, if England had been in the World Cup final, fortunately not, it might have been a different story, but I think there'll be a lot more focus on it, a lot more attention, looking at the big names, what's going on. And there's always a great story on the last day. Something always happens. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Neil, thanks very much indeed. I hope you enjoy the tournament and the rest of the weekend sport. So that's Neil McClellan reflecting on the golf, the 154th Open, and as I say, lots of different events have been overshadowed by the World Cup. But if you look at the World Cup match tonight, England versus France, still 7,000 tickets available for that match.
That's very
I think the lowest price is, if you're interested, Anne, if you want to get a quick flight, it's £346, or you can pay a top price of £657.
I mean, what's the point?
Just knock them down, don't you?
At the moment, one wouldn't want to pay. I mean, if things had turned out differently,
I know, but this thing about the third and fourth place game, it's not a new thing. They've known about it for a long time. I guess when you just lose, France have lost, England have lost, there's less of an appetite. But it is a chance for some of the fringe players to get there. But I do think that if they lose tonight, it could be curtains for Thomas Tuchel. I really do.
And very briefly, we'll be talking about it later. The world of cricket has lost a hero.
Yes, absolutely. At the age of 89, so Garfield Sobers, or more commonly known as Gary Sobers, so Geoffrey Boycott will be joining us later in the show to talk about him. But an extremely one of the top five, possibly even the greatest.
Well, they say probably the greatest of all time.
All rounder in cricket, and a hugely accomplished batsman. Hugely accomplished bowler and a very athletic fielder as well.
Not bad, good all-rounder.
No, good.
Well,
all right, Edwin, we'll see you later.
Cheers.
OK, we'll be going through the papers in a couple of moments with Sebastian Salek and Susan Holder. There they are. First of all, though, let's look at the European weather forecast.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Lots of sunshine around the Mediterranean through this weekend and beyond. Still very hot in Croatia and Italy, but temperatures here into next week just dipping off a little bit. Hot and sunny too for most of Greece and Turkey. The small chance of one or two isolated heavy showers across the far northeast of Italy. Most of Iberia also dry and sunny. Here too, temperatures just dipping a little bit. Sunny spells across the Canaries. Lots more sunshine to come into next week, but particularly for Rome and Dubrovnik, those temperatures just dip.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
What do you think about where we're going to get our future athletes and our Olympians from when we're telling our children, oh, you can't go out and partake in sports today because it's a bit hot?
It really worries me. We have a generation that spend their life being very inactive, an awful lot of time on mobile telephones, coming up with every excuse as to not to move and not to be moving. Sport in schools is where we can catch every kid. And the kids that will lose out are the kids that come from areas of deprivation, because the parents that can afford to make sure their children do sport will still do that. But the parents that can't afford, sadly, will miss out. So it's really important that our kids, do enough physical activity, lay down these habits, understand about how their body works and nutrition and food and looking after themselves and health. We have a health crisis. It's really important we start early.
The People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
GB News entertainment editor Alex Davies joins us now. What a woman, what a voice, what an incredible life. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, like you said, she's a singer whose songs have transcended generations, really. Everybody knows Total Eclipse of the Heart. Everybody knows Holding Out for a Hero. She's been awarded an MBE. She represented the UK at Eurovision. And it's just very sad. Tributes have already started to pour in from across the showbiz world and just fans in general, This is somebody who's, like I said, transcended generations with her music and will continue to do so posthumously.
Well,
Thanks so much. I met her just once in a green room. She was an absolute delight, and even speaking, she had that great rasping voice.
Oh, what an incredible voice.
Incredible voice.
GB News, the People's Channel. Britain's newsroom. Weekday mornings from 9:30.
So you go along to the car showroom and only like 10%, at most maybe 15%, pay cash. The rest buy on some form of financing. And you often buy, it's a bit like a mortgage, and it's like buying a mortgage from the estate agent, which we all know is a terribly bad idea. But this is what people did. And the scandal is, the guys in the showroom were acting as dealers and brokers, and they were in many cases inflating the interest rate that you paid so that they could get bigger commission. And they didn't declare that. So you basically ended up paying more for your car than you would otherwise have done if you'd gone into the open market and found yourself, a better deal.
How did that come to light?
Well, over many years. I mean, this has been going on since 2007.
GB News, the People's Channel.
7:48, we're looking through the papers with Sebastian Salik and Susan Holder. Good morning.
Good morning.
Susan, in the Telegraph, terror is coming for our democracy.
Oh, yes, which is not a very cheerful read. It's the Saturday interview in the Telegraph with Dame Sarah Khan, who was the person behind Inspire after the July 7 bombings. And she's done quite a lot of work and reporting into all this. It is very worrying what she has to say, really, because she's talking about all the different reasons why we have problems in this country, from extremism from both kind of sides, the contract that people feel is broken between them and the people who lead society or politicians, and the fact that people feel that they can not just demonstrate but actually act violently when they're against something. And so it's very interesting why she thinks that all these things then lead back to kind of terror incidents. She does touch, without, obviously we can't talk too much about what may or may not have prompted what happened to Anne Widdecombe, but she does say that attacks on politicians generally are increasing, or threats of attacks, and all that kind of thing. And it's because of the division and the divisions that kind of are widening in certain areas. But she says the hope that she kind of final ends the piece with is that you have to stand up robustly to these sort of things and take more action, and not just defend everything. Well, that's cultural, so we'll leave it alone. You have to stand up where you see things being done wrong.
Some astonishing figures, aren't they?
I found it immensely sad when our political editor Christopher Hope sat here a couple of days ago and said he now knows well, he knew them well, 3 people who'd just been murdered.
Good grief.
And I suppose it's interesting that you look at it and they were all from different parties.
Yeah.
But isn't that terrible?
Yeah.
Sad.
It's awful.
It is awful.
I don't know about you, but I found the murder of Anne Widdecombe unbelievably defeating. It's just one of those. It's just.
I'm still not quite got my head around it. I don't think. I don't think anybody's had. And it doesn't matter what reasons will come out or what we find out later. I just think that whole thing is just completely, very unnerving, actually.
Yeah, I think that's right.
It's terrifying and depressing, and it just cast it. I mean, I gave up even being interested in the World Cup, in the tennis. I just couldn't concentrate on anything. Just felt so terrible.
It just runs counter to how we see ourselves as a country, doesn't it? We like to think of ourselves as a peaceful democracy, and yet, 3 murders in 10 years? We'll look back on this, I think, with a great deal of shame.
And the underlying point of this is that 1 in 4 Britons, according to the reporting she's done and the investigation, would side with our enemies, being Russia, China, or whatever else people consider our enemies.
50% in political violence, believing in that. After all of that.
After all of that.
Imagine.
I can't understand. I can't believe that it's happened to our country.
No. Right, Sebastian, in the Eye this morning, the pension age could rise to 70, even if we scrap the triple lock.
Yes, this comes from Steve Webb, the former pensions minister under the coalition government, incidentally, whose birthday it is today. But he's giving a very gloomy outlook, that, even if we get rid of the triple lock, you're going to see the retirement age going up and up and up. Now, we have to remind ourselves how much we spend on pensions, 27 times more than the asylum bill. So it's a staggering amount of money. It's somewhere around £140 billion a year. And we are going to have a conversation about the triple lock at some point, I think. It is feeling increasingly unsustainable.
Susan?
Well, I mean, I don't know that it is unsustainable in that I do feel pensions are always lumped in as and called a benefit by people when it suits them.
It's part of the benefits bill that we talk about.
It is, but of course it's not a benefit. It is something that people have earned and paid into and invested in.
Well, they haven't paid into it, have they? They've paid for the previous generation.
Well, it is still something that I don't know what you can't pull the rug from people. Well, you do.
Well,
we do
have
that.
To at some point, sadly.
Well, I'd love to have a conversation with you in 30 years' time, but that probably isn't possible.
Come and find me on the streets of London. It's going to be miserly.
Yeah, where you're living under the arches. Because what are you going to do? I just think we look at this all back to front. That we don't care about people as they age. We don't look after people. It happens to everybody. There must be a better system than going, oh, actually, we're just going to take more and more money off you, and then we're going to take away everything we promised you, and even the value of your house, and even the value of your care, and even things you have paid into don't count. And actually,
maybe we need to start educating people into the idea of, and we're talking about very young people now, of saying. You know, that there will be no state pension. They
have been saying, as I say...
Well, I know we've been warned about.
I was told that quite categorically at the age of 20 when I got my first job. Don't rely on the state pension. It won't be there when you're pensionable age. I was told that. And I took it.
You need the state... will you need the state pension? I'm not going to need a state pension because I'm saving in a private pension.
Yes.
So therefore, do we have to reach a point where we say, well, if you've got a suitable private pension, you don't receive the
But even your suitable private pension is being raided.
Oh, it is being raided, yeah.
But also, you don't know what's going to happen to you.
No.
You don't.
No.
You can assume that you're going to be your work until you retire. But sometimes life doesn't do that.
And it also depends on what kind of work you do. If you do a very physical manual job, that isn't necessarily suitable that you're going to be able to do it. You can't be scaling ladders at 70 or carrying heavy things at 70.
No, but that's when your private pension comes in.
Yes.
Yeah. Isn't it? But this is the argument, and I know it's not a comfortable argument.
No.
But at some point, you've got to. But we all turn around and say, well, we've paid into it all our lives.
Well, yes. Well, but isn't that an argument? Why do people raise their eyebrows at that and go, well, OK, well, so what? Well, actually, that means quite a lot.
Yeah. All right, you two. Thank you. See you later.
Here's the weather.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Another fine day, by and large, a little bit less hot than recent days. A pleasant summer's day for most. There is the chance of seeing a shower, but if you're after rain, well, I'm afraid to say that most places won't see any all weekend. The odd shower across the east of England with thicker cloud here. And inland, we'll see a bit more cloud today over northern England, Wales, parts of the Midlands, and here again too, one or two isolated but potentially heavy showers could develop. Most places fine and bright with sunny spells. Not as hot across the south, but we still get up to 24, 25 degrees. So still feeling pretty warm in that sunshine. Always a little cooler along some of these North Sea coasts with the breeze coming in. Continuing to feed in some cloud at times for Lincolnshire and East Anglia. A greater chance through the late afternoon and evening of the odd shower over South Wales and South West England, but they will be very hit and miss. But if we do see one, could be quite a potent downpour. Most of Northern Ireland, most of Scotland having a pretty pleasant summer's evening with a bit of a brisk northerly breeze across the far north, keeping temperatures a little lower here. Temperatures will dip away quite a bit on Saturday evening, so bear that in mind if you are heading out this evening. It will turn quite fresh quite quickly under largely clear skies. Still a bit of a northerly breeze blowing along the east coast, maybe some thicker cloud heading towards the northwest of Scotland, but generally clear skies and those temperatures quite a bit lower than they have been over recent nights. Towns and cities in the north dropping down to 10 or 11 Celsius, but rural spots will be well below that, so well down into single figures. Sunday's another fine day by and large. Yes, a fresh start, but then sunny spells for most, a bit more cloud in the east again, one or two showers over northern Scotland perhaps, but generally the wind's light, plenty of sunny spells, and after that coolish start, temperatures in the afternoon for most places getting back into the 20s, mid-20s across the south. Bye for now.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
we're celebrating a golden summer with your chance to win a real gold bar. That's right, a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000 could be yours. We're also going to make sure your finances are fabulous with £60,000 in tax-free cash. For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in, Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages. Because the news is going to happen. So get a head start today. Patrick Christie's tonight, Late Edition. Alex Armstrong tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At the stroke of midnight, the news doesn't stop, and neither do we.
Day in, day out. Forget stuffy late night TV shows. We're giving you a front row ticket to the centre of the political universe.
Because breaking news doesn't wait for the morning.
And neither do we. Join us for one of the most controversial and volatile times of politics in human history.
A very big story.
Big story over here.
You won't get this anywhere else. The Late Show live at midnight, every night.
Only on GB News. 5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates, 5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show. It's not a bad brand. Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What does she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News, the People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dordme, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. Andy Burnham vows to revive Britain as he becomes the new leader of the Labour Party.
The Makerfield MP uses his inaugural speech to pledge the most significant political change for a generation.
We can be that party, the party that puts more power in people's hands, drives good growth in every postcode and puts hope in every heart. That's my mission as your new leader. To bring back hope.
But will Mr Burnham's message of hope translate to, well, anything at all? Or could his radical nationalisation plan drag Britain back to the 70s?
Meanwhile, there's lots of reports circulating about his potential cabinet picks. Could Angela Rayner, for instance, be set to be Britain's next health secretary?
In other news, the White House backs Argentina's football team after players, including Lionel Messi, held a Falklands Islands banner following their World Cup semi-final win against England.
Messi is one of the greatest of all time. And in terms of the ability, the opportunity to be able to make, those statements, they have the ability to do that in the United States of America.
And we'll be getting the inside scoop from one of Britain's busiest ice cream vans. Stay tuned to find out how Piccadilly Whip is handling the summer heatwave.
England boss Thomas Tuchel says defeat is a scar we carry as he looks ahead to the bronze medal match tonight against France in Miami. Elsewhere, there's been controversy at the Open and tributes are paid to Gary Sobers, who's died at the age of 89. We'll be joined by Sir Geoffrey Boycott later this hour.
A fine weekend for most, with plenty of sunny spells. Not quite as hot as recent days. Join me later for a full forecast, but I'll warn you now, if you're looking for rain for your garden, you'll probably be disappointed.
It's just gone 8 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Call Me Old-Fashioned has just messaged in, just in the last few seconds, saying, just like Andy Burnham, I love my mother and warm apple pie. Yeah, so maybe you could be Prime Minister, because we know as much about you and your politics, really, or your policies, as we do about Andy Burnham at the minute.
And also they're saying, you know, Angela Rayner could be Health Minister because she's been a care worker. That sort of doesn't make much sense, necessarily.
I mean, she's got some inside track on the job, and care is going to...
She's got experience at a real job, that's for sure.
Yeah, but it doesn't necessarily qualify. Mind you, I mean, some people... Alan... his name escapes me. Alan, who was a post office worker. Alan Johnson.
Yeah.
Who was a post office worker. He was he ended up being a great politician.
I think he's a great politician because he was a great politician. He was he was a real man of the people, brilliant raconteur, lovely
He was
man.
someone, though, who got the job as Chancellor and then walked away from it after, I don't know, a matter of weeks or months, saying, no, I can't do this job. And so he walked away from it. Or did he turn it? Did he get it and walk away, or did he turn it down?
Can't remember.
You mean? Just a bit like Kevin Keegan.
Yeah.
But it's a bit of honesty, isn't it?
I tell you what, he's also a good novelist.
He's very
Writes good stories, yeah, so...
Anyway...
I think he would have been great no matter what he did, actually.
The one thing we know about Andy Burnham is that he is ready to be Prime Minister. That's what he said in his first speech as the new Labour Party leader.
Well, it's just as well, really, because it starts Monday. Already, though, people are wondering how ready he really is.
We can be that party, the party that puts more power in people's hands, drives good growth in every postcode and puts hope in every heart, that gets the country pulling together again and moves beyond the divisions of recent years, all people and all places, public and private sectors, in a new sense of unity and common cause. That's my mission as your new leader, to bring back hope.
And not just hope, he set out his vision for government, promising a new kind of politics, less focused on political point scoring.
I will be a leader for the North, the South, the East and the West, for Scotland, Wales and for Northern Ireland.
He also vowed to make his party distinctly Labour, saying he's not going to try to out-green the Greens or out-reform reform.
But first on the list, of course, is choosing his cabinet. There's a lot of speculation mounting over who's going to fill those top jobs.
Yeah, as we already mentioned, Angela Rayner being mentioned as Health Secretary. We know...
Shabina Mahmood as Chancellor.
But we've also talked about Ed Miliband as Chancellor, Wes Streeting as Chancellor.
Brothers.
Pat McFadden as Chancellor. I mean, so really, who knows at this stage? We just don't know. And part of the reason we don't know, I guess, Duncan Barks, is because outlining anything of that nature actually gives us a proper indication of what his policies are going to be.
It does, and the role of Chancellor, whoever might become the new Chancellor, I think it's fair to say that Rachel Reeves will not remain in the job. I mean, some of the interviews she's done, she's almost ruled herself out, so I think she knows the writing is on the wall. But it's such an important job because the markets will respond in a certain way, and the markets are incredibly relevant because we go to the markets as a country to borrow money to fund public services, and if they don't like who that Chancellor is, the cost to borrow money will go up. So it's very important that whoever gets the job has the confidence of the market. So Ed Miliband is seen, to be blunt, as a bit of a lefty economically. So therefore, if he were to become Chancellor, and the heat is off Ed a little bit now, I think it's fair to say, the markets might go, oh, this guy shows his net zero obsession. He might be economically a bit of a liability for the country. If it's Shabana Mahmood, who's the current Health Secretary, she seemed to be on the right of the Labour Party, and perhaps when it comes to fiscal prudence is a little bit more sound. So that's why whoever becomes Chancellor is really, really important. What we don't need, though, is what's happening at the moment moment is this rampant speculation, because I think it's impossible to believe, quite frankly, that Andy Burnham doesn't know who his cabinet is going to be. He said yesterday, I still haven't made my mind up. Well, frankly, I think that's for the birds. So the next 48 hours will be interesting. We might see some briefing in the newspapers hinting at who might get what job.
Yeah, I tell you what winds me up, though.
Yeah.
It's being taken for a fool. Yeah. In all of this, and it's no disrespect to anyone, but they need to think about what they're doing. Bobby Dazzler has just messaged in, who says Burnham talks a lot but says nothing.
Yeah,
and that really is the case at the moment. I mean, we're not idiots.
Sure that's fair.
Really?
I'm only just standing up for him for the sake of it, I think. But I mean, he isn't Prime Minister yet,
no.
And until the King actually asks him to do that job, surely he can't go announcing who he's going to.
No, but he could give us a sense of direction.
Yeah, but we'd just go even more mad and say, why doesn't he say something, specific?
No, I mean...
he's in limbo, isn't he?
A little bit. I mean, I suppose practically and technically it's right to wait until you're Prime Minister before you announce your cabinet. However, what we don't have, really, are any clear policies regarding where Andy Burnham might take this country. I mean, I'll tell you what we do know, and it's all over the newspapers today. We know about there's going to be the biggest council house building programme since the post-war, World War II, OK? 1.5 million homes. So we know about that. We know about this renationalisation of water and energy companies. He's talked about that. That's great. It plays to his home crowd, if you like. What we don't know, and this is the elephant in the room, is how we're going to pay for all of this.
Yeah.
This costs billions and billions of pounds. Our tax burden in this country is almost at a record high since World War II. Andy, how are you going to fork out to make all of this a reality? And that's what people want to know.
And at a time when we know there's so many demands on money, I mean, particularly with defence at the moment.
£15 billion they need to find for the defence investment programme.
So it's about prioritising. Is he going to prioritise council houses over defence?
Yeah, exactly. He's going to make some choices, and we need to know, as a country, what those choices are and how he's going to pay for them. It's very interesting that this idea that we feel that maybe there's a sense of we're all being taken for fools. There's this piece that appeared in the Times this morning, and it was part of his speech yesterday to his home crowd, if you like, the Labour Party. I didn't bring down Starmer, he insists. Well, come on. This idea. And then in the same 10 minutes, he talked about, I'm going to bring in a new politics where there's no backbiting or point scoring or briefing against people. The idea that he wasn't at least part of or influencing how to remove Keir Starmer so he could get the top job, frankly, is just ludicrous.
Why did he try and run in the previous by-election?
Exactly that. And we know from Louise Haigh, who's the former Transport Secretary, who got removed by Keir Starmer because she got confused over mobile phone ownership, I'm being polite. She gave an interview to the media saying that for many months they were looking at how Starmer could be removed. So already, if you're going to pick holes in it, and let's wait and see what he says on Monday, but this idea that I didn't bring down Starmer, I don't think many people in the country believe that.
No, and there's also, a lot of people are messaging in this morning saying, how can he be Prime Minister when nobody's voted for him?
Yep.
Well, they have voted for him because they voted for him in Makerfield, but it's the idea that no one as a whole vote. We don't vote for our Prime Minister, but you do tend to vote for a party and you know who that leader is.
You do.
So they've got a sort of point.
I think they've got a big point. You're right, it was a by-election, but let's remember this by-election that he got in on was a constructed by-election. His mate, who was the MP for Makerfield, Josh Simmons, quit, right? Andy Burnham's known him for years and years and years. This was a constructed by-election in order to get Burnham into Parliament in order to replace Keir Starmer. So the people who voted for Andy Burnham in Makerfield are the people ultimately responsible for our new Prime Minister. But that is what, 0.00001% of the population?
Something like that.
But isn't that fair enough? If you're a lifelong Labour member and has been a member of Parliament before, member of government before, and you see the job, in your view, being done really badly and falling apart, then maybe you could argue it's your responsibility to put yourself forward because you think you can do a better job.
Yeah, you can make that argument, but let's remember, this is our 7th Prime Minister in 10 years. Andy Burnham will be our 7th PM in 10 years. I think the general public are tired of what's been happening in Westminster. They see, and this is not just a pop at the Labour Party. They saw it with the Conservative Party. You know, one moment it was Boris Johnson, and you know, and then it was Liz Truss, and then we had Rishi Sunak. I think people are fed up of it, and I think in order to get faith back into British politics, people go, do you know what? If I'm going to have a Prime Minister, I want to be able to vote for that political party and therefore that Prime Minister. And we're not seeing this with Andy Burnham.
No. Whether we will, I mean, someone was saying the other day, maybe October, a general election, if the polls are looking healthy. It's got to go early at some point.
There's been one poll that I've seen, which was done by a company called Survation, who are pretty good on the money, and you know, Labour have gone up by a few points. Now, you can argue, the usual caveat is just one poll, but there's an argument there to say maybe that is the Burnham bounce starting to take effect, and if there is a Burnham bounce, and that's backed up by other opinion polls, you might see Andy Burnham think towards the end of this year, do you know what, let's go to the country, let's get a fresh mandate.
Yeah. Very possibly. Duncan, it's been great to see you this morning. Thank you
both.
Tell you what, though, if we've had 7 Prime Ministers in 10 years, and you're an author who is committed to writing biographies of every Prime Minister going back way to John Major or something.
Well, it's having a whale of a time, yeah.
Hard work, but good business. Because joining us now, political historian and passionate Thatcher supporter, and a man who's written about every Prime Minister going back some years, Sir Anthony Selden joins us now. A very good morning to you.
Good morning.
With 7 Prime Ministers in 10 years, you've been a very busy man. Just wondering what your thoughts are about the way Andy Burnham has become Prime Minister.
So it's hard for a Prime Minister to take over without a general election behind them. So that then gives them their own mandate. And there have been 10 times that that's happened since 1945. And in 4 cases, they've won a quick general election subsequently. And that's given them their own personal mandate, as we have heard there. So it's going to be tough for him because people can say, sorry, mate, you weren't part of the, you weren't an MP back in 2024. What exactly is your legitimacy for taking the country in this new direction? And that's a fair point democratically, whether that was a Conservative or a Labour Prime Minister.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're not getting a lot of detail from him. He's talking in these generalities. But yesterday seemed very odd in that he was quite critical of the 80s, the implication sort of being that he wants to drag us back to the 70s. What's your assessment of that? Because Thatcher was clearly very divisive. She was also hugely successful. And to be fair, we were the poor man of Europe, and we got dragged up by our bootstraps by Margaret Thatcher, basically.
So it's interesting that, isn't it? Because both Tony Blair and Gordon Brown, let's remember, invited Margaret Thatcher into Downing Street. Gordon Brown spent, apparently, we're told, 2 hours talking to her. And they were doing that. They weren't stupid people. They were both prime ministers doing it because they knew that Margaret Thatcher was an exceptional Prime Minister. She's ranked with Clement Attlee, the Labour Prime Minister just after the Second World War, as making a massive change to Britain's standing in the world and internally. And they wanted, if you like, they wanted to hear what she said. They wanted to learn how to be an agenda-changing Prime Minister. But they also realised that, look, she's very popular with the right-wing press. And if we want the Mail and the Express and the Telegraph and even the Times to take us seriously, maybe we should be seen to be cozying up a bit to Thatcher. And remembering also that Thatcher was enormously popular with a lot of Labour and working-class voters because she helped them have their own shares, have their own council houses, have their own, buy their own homes, rather. And so, it's a brave move. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it's a brave move to distance himself from somebody who appeals so strongly to working-class voters. Not evenly, of course, and many hated her, but many felt that they were able to buy a slice of the state because of her.
What makes a great Prime Minister? And are they great? Are they great from day one? Do they show that greatness, especially when you look back? Do they show that greatness before, or do they learn on the job?
Well, they have to do both. You have to have that inner quality. So Margaret Thatcher famously took her time. She learned from the experience of Ted Heath, who in 1970 came in the best prepared Prime Minister, arguably of any Conservative or indeed Labour Prime Minister since the war. He had thought everything out, Ted Heath, for 5 years from 1965. And of course, it went disastrously wrong. The trade unions rebelled against him, and it finished 3.5 years later with the country up in arms. And she learnt the benefit of gradualism. So nationalisation famously wasn't in the 1979 manifesto. So you need to be both incredibly steel-like and strong and firm and clear, but also politically savvy enough to know the pace at which you can move. I mean, Liz Truss famously had a lot of the right ideas for the country for growth, but completely wrong in the way, obviously, in the way that she introduced them. So strength with political savviness and knowing that you have to, as they say, roll the pitch before you get in. And I think also learning from predecessors. You were saying there about the council houses, 300,000 houses a year. Who was the person who did not do that? Keir Starmer. Who did do it? Future Conservative Prime Minister Harold Macmillan between 1951 and 53. And that was a prodigious effort from an extraordinarily capable politician, working, bringing in outsiders, working the civil service, mobilizing the whole housing sector to achieve it. I have to say they weren't great houses. And if Andy Bennon's going to try and do that, it would be nice to have houses that were better built. But he achieved it. But it's a massive effort. I think the best prime ministers, last point, learn from their predecessors, whether of their own party or another party. They've got that humility and, frankly, historical interest to respect the people who really make the difference.
Just a quick final thought, Sir Anthony. The one thing we keep hearing about Andy Burnham is that, he's a much better performer, which he is, and he's a charismatic man. How important is that in being a Prime Minister?
OK, it's necessary, but it's not sufficient. You need to be a great storyteller, but you also need to be able to make the pivot from being a campaigner to an executor, from a chief presentation officer to the chief executive. The Prime Minister is the chief executive. They need to be able to deliver, and that's a very different skill. You need to still be able to weave a story, tell the nation a story about why things are going to hurt. He needs to say, by the way, that this is going to be painful and difficult for a lot of people till we get through it. Haven't heard too much from that yet, but he is going to need to be and make that switch that Keir Starmer never made from being a campaigner to actually being rolling up your sleeves and knowing how to deliver in the way that the great prime ministers, Clement Attlee, Margaret Thatcher, did. They were doers.
OK, so Anthony Seldon, really good to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Fascinating, actually.
That is fascinating. And on Monday, when he makes his speech as Prime Minister, it'll be interesting to see if he's listened, if he's going to be a doer.
We shall see, won't we? Right, it's 21 minutes past 8, very nearly. Here's the weather with Alex.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning. Welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Another fine day, by and large, a little bit less hot than recent days. A pleasant summer's day for most. There is the chance of seeing a shower, but if you're after rain, well, I'm afraid to say that most places won't see any all weekend. The odd shower across the east of England with thicker cloud here. And inland, we'll see a bit more cloud today over northern England, Wales, parts of the Midlands, and here again too, one or two isolated but potentially heavy showers could develop. Most places fine and bright with sunny spells. Not as hot across the south, but we still get up to 24, 25 degrees. So still feeling pretty warm in that sunshine. Always a little cooler along some of these North Sea coasts with the breeze coming in. Continuing to feed in some cloud at times for Lincolnshire and East Anglia. A greater chance through the late afternoon and evening of the odd shower over South Wales and South West England, but they will be very hit and miss. But if we do see one, could be quite a potent downpour. Most of Northern Ireland, most of Scotland having a pretty pleasant summer's evening with a bit of a brisk northerly breeze across the far north, keeping temperatures a little lower here. Temperatures will dip away quite a bit on Saturday evening, so bear that in mind if you are heading out this evening. It will turn quite fresh quite quickly under largely clear skies. Still a bit of a northerly breeze blowing along the east coast, maybe some thicker cloud heading towards the northwest of Scotland, but generally clear skies and those temperatures quite a bit lower than they have been over recent nights. Towns and cities in the north dropping down to 10 or 11 Celsius, but rural spots will be well below that, so well down into single figures. Sunday's another fine day by and large. Yes, a fresh start, but then sunny spells for most, a bit more cloud in the east again, one or two showers over northern Scotland perhaps, but generally the wind's light, plenty of sunny spells, and after that coolish start, temperatures in the afternoon for most places getting back into the 20s, mid-20s across the south. Bye for now.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Time for the Great British Giveaway now. Your chance to win big. It is £60,000 in tax-free cash and a gold bar worth over £5,000. Though the value of gold, I have to point out, does go up and down a bit. Anyway, here are all the details to try and win it.
What would you do with £60,000 cash? What would you do with a real gold bar? Well, both have to be won in our Golden Summer celebration. First, there's £60,000 in tax-free cash to bolster your bank account this year. You could spend it on treats, splash out on the family, or just save it for a rainy day. It's entirely up to you. Plus, we'll also give you a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. That's genuine gold that you could gift to a loved one or just lock up in your own personal vault. The gold and the cash really could be yours. For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Best of luck. We've been talking a lot about the 70s this morning. Do you know what reminds me of the 70s as a child growing up in the 70s? This.
Oh.
The ice cream van.
Absolutely. And you could hear it coming nearer and nearer, couldn't you? And you knew in your local neighbourhood where it would usually stop. I lived in a cul-de-sac, and Remus, the dog from next door, I don't know if there was ever a Romulus, but anyway, Remus used to come out because he knew that once the ice cream van had gone, there'd be lots of ice cream on the tarmac where it had been. And he used to just go out into the middle of the road, because you could then, and lick all the ice cream up from the road.
Oh, good.
Remember Remus well.
Anyway, look, we've had this really hot weather. Has that been fantastic news for ice cream vans or not? We're going to talk to a man in the trade in just a moment.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
The late edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's Tonight, late edition.
Alex Armstrong Tonight, late edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories. And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And meeting your favourite presenters across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island. Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB Newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Now, have you been enjoying an ice cream this summer? You should have done. Frankly, you can't beat it, Mr.
There's still
Whippy.
time. No, you
Oh, no.
can't. I love these, like the twirly whirly ones there. Oh, sorry. Hello. Yeah. Beautiful to have an ice cream.
Oh, anyway, but you'd assume then, wouldn't? Oh, mine is melting in the studio lights. You'd assume that being an ice cream man in this heat
Would be the job to have.
Well, you think so? You
In a nice cool van.
Has it all
surrounded by ice cream?
But has it all been that simple? Should we talk to the owner of Piccadilly Whip, which is a family-run ice cream business that's been going since the 60s, John Boner. Good to see you, John. Oh, what a beautiful ice cream van behind you.
Oh, yes,
That's gorgeous.
grand.
Has it been easy in this heat?
No. It's everyone thinks it's nice and cool inside an ice cream van. Believe me, it's not. It's like twice the temperature of the outside. And,
While everybody else is queuing up for your ice creams and looking forward to a lovely cooling ice cream, you're inside roasting, are you?
yeah, it's like a sauna inside here. Believe me, it is. Yeah. I'm actually in Cowley in Oxford today at the Cowley plant for a job. And this ice cream van was made here 96 years ago. So they've asked me to bring it down here for the job. Yeah.
Oh,
that's
yeah, I know
beautiful.
that plant well. OK, so life is hard for you when the weather gets really hot, but it must be good for business.
Yes and no. Sometimes it can be too hot. Like, the parks are empty because it's too hot. If there's not a lot of shade there, people just don't want to be there. If you go to a show and you pay a lot of money for a show, it gets to 2 o'clock in the afternoon and people are leaving because it's so hot. So we need it 27, 28 degrees. Once it gets past that, it becomes a little bit too warm, really, to be honest.
Oh, right.
But you must love it, because you've been in the business a long time, haven't you?
I've done it since I was a little boy. I'm 62 now, yeah.
Wow. So was it always a family business?
Yeah, I used to work for my uncle when I was a child. I used to work in an ice cream barrier in Hyde Park. And eventually I bought my own van, an old van, and done it up. My nan and my mum helped me do it up, and it's gone on to one of the best fleets in the country now.
Oh, my goodness. We've got lovely pictures of you there, surrounded by ice cream eaters.
What are people buying? Yeah. Are they going for the lollies, or is it still a good old 99?
99, so that sells everything put together.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Nothing can do it.
How much are they nowadays? I haven't bought from a van in years.
Around £3 for a normal 99 with a flake, a Cadbury's flake, a real flake.
But I tell you what, you make people happy. There are always queues of really delighted children wherever you go.
They say you can't buy happiness, but you can buy an ice cream.
Well,
it's
a very fair point. Well, all power to your elbow. I hope you get a few decent sales in today, John. Sorry I haven't said much to you. I've been too busy eating my ice cream, which is lovely. Really good to see you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much indeed.
Well, it'll be getting a bit cooler for you anyway. Thanks very much, John.
You can't beat it. A
beautiful
van.
It a bit small, though, that one behind him.
It's a bit small, but I mean, I guess if you've got a Mr. Whippy machine in there, then...
Have you ever had a go?
No, I'd love to have a go.
No, you can do it. You can, particularly in those American ice cream shops. You can do it yourself, you know.
Oh, can you?
I think there's a real art to it, doing it well.
Oh, I'd love to do that.
With the sprinkles, and I like a little bit of marshmallow in as well, like in an oyster.
Oh, right.
Do you remember oysters?
No. No, I don't remember oysters. I used to remember those. I used to get those when I was a kid, those in like a little plastic cup. It looked like a Dalek, and it had some bubble gum at the bottom.
Bubble gum? Crumbs?
I
don't remember
Weird,
those.
I don't know why you do it.
Anyway, these are particularly nice, but
a good old
not at this time in the
99.
morning. It's 8:30 in the morning, and you'd really eaten it all.
We've been up half the night, to be fair.
True. I tell you what, we're going to talk in a couple of moments about Sir Gary Sobers. Now, even if you're a non-cricketer like me, you'll have heard of him, because he's meant to be really one of the best cricketers of all time. Oh. Sadly, he's died now, we're told, aged 89, and he's died in his home country, his home place, Barbados. His former England and Yorkshire captain, Sir Geoffrey Boycott, is going to be joining us to honour that extraordinary legacy, coming up in just a couple of moments.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact is Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time. But I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5.
You got me good there. Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand.
Yeah.
Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight.
On the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace
Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
because
the failure is-
you're
the failure is-
deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference.
It's fun.
No, you didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country. There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor. Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Dawdney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
To all of you who voted for GB News to win at the Trick Awards for the 4th year in a row.
And the winner is GB News.
Thank you so much for voting for us. It's because of you that we're so proud to be the People's Channel, and it's because of you that we are Britain's news channel.
It's voted for the people who watch us.
Well, we've got the best viewers in the world, haven't we? The most loyal viewers.
Thank you.
Thank you to the hundreds of you who've got in touch to say it was a screwball.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Apparently
screwball.
the ice cream at the top was really nice, but by the time you got to the bubble gum, it was rock hard and could break your teeth.
Yeah. Or wet and soggy, one of the two. Happy memories, though.
Oh, lovely.
Happy memories. Back in the good old 70s.
Time to talk sport, not football, actually, this time.
No, lots of events this weekend have been overshadowed by the World Cup, certainly in the last few weeks, but it's a big event, or a big weekend this weekend, of course. We've got the 3rd and 4th place playoff tonight in Miami, England against France. We'll hear from Thomas Tuchel just a short time from now. We've also got the Open, the 154th Open at Royal Birkdale. Rory McIlroy still has a faint chance of getting through on that. And we're also reflecting on the life of Sir Garfield Sobers, the West Indies cricketer who has died at the age of 89. We're joined now by the former England and Yorkshire cricket captain, Sir Geoffrey Boycott. Welcome to GB News, Sir Geoffrey, first of all. Now, considered one of the greatest all-rounders of all time, Sir Gary Sobers, what made him so special?
His batting was exceptional. He batted with style, beauty, but he made a lot of runs. And then his bowling, he could do all kinds of things. His seam bowling, which was the best part of his bowling, he didn't start. He started as a 17-year-old bowling left-arm orthodox spin. And he just picked up the ball later on in life. And suddenly, because he was so lithe, graceful, athletic, he could swing the ball like a banana. And he was a magnificent bowler. I think what was even better than his cricket, he was a fierce competitor, but I never heard him do anything underhand, say anything nasty about players. I never heard about him sledging anybody. And he was a good human being, a really good person. I know there's a temptation when people die to make them out to be better than they were. But it actually was a nice man. I'll tell you one story, absolutely true. 71, West Indies, India, in West Indies. He tossed up and came back in the dressing room. His player said, "What are we doing?" He said, "We're fielding." And one said, "Oh, you lost the toss." He said, "I don't know." I said, "How do you mean you don't know?" He said, "Well, when I tossed up, the Indian captain went walla, walla, walla in Hindi. I don't know what he called, but he just said, 'We'll bat.' And he said, and he didn't make an international incident about it. He just accepted it graciously that, hang on, we're not going to have an incident here. That was the type of guy he was.
And what was it about his walk? I've heard lots of people mention his walk. They said it said a lot about him. It meant that he meant business as he approached the crease.
Well, he walked purposeful, like a panther on the prowl. I've actually always believed that the great players, they walk to the crease to bat, giving the impression to the opposition that, here, I'm coming, I'm ready. You know, I'm up for the fray, I'm up for the fight. And that's what he did. He was purposeful. He was always lithe and graceful and athletic. And his batting, his bowling, even his fielder, short leg slip, he was naturally gifted. From being 17, playing as a left-arm spinner, that was probably the weakest of his cricket because they found he was a great batsman, wonderful swing bowler, and he could bowl Chinaman at tail enders, this wrist spin, and fiddle 1 or 2 wickets. And he was an exceptional fielder. And it didn't matter where he played, he was good. He went 3 years to South Australia, and in 10 matches, they only played 5 states, home and away. He scored 1,000 runs and 50 wickets each time. That's a hell of a lot in just 10 matches. And he did it. He just did it easily. In the end, I played against him in 74, right at the end. And he was knackered. There's a word I can use. It was like a horse that's actually shot its bolt. It worn him down, cricket, summer, winter, for so many years. It was a shadow of himself. And that wasn't the real Gary Sobers. But you know, he had to play summer, winter and keep playing everywhere because there was no money in sport. Today, kids play and they're millionaires each year, playing for England. Many of them are millionaires, go to the IPL, they earn $1 million. And there was nothing. I think he played for Notts and he was paid more than anybody else and he got £5,000 for the summer. Oh, it's ridiculous today, but that's how it was. But he never complained, just got on with it. And he always played competitively with a smile, enjoyed it, and never did he slag anybody off, ever.
So, Geoffrey, he was born with an extra finger on each hand.
Yes.
How would that have affected his game, if at all?
Well, it didn't, because he operated fairly early on and took a finger off each, so he never noticed it. And he had just 5. But they operated early on. Maybe that's it. He was born as a genius. They say genius different. He was. Look, of all the players I played with, he's the best. I can't speak for those like Hammond, Hobbs, Hutton, Compton. I didn't know. But of all the players I saw, played against, played with, and I played once with him for Yorkshire in Bermuda, once. And he played on our team as a guest against Bermuda. And when he came in, we were 5 down for nothing, matting on concrete. The ball was whistling through past your head. And he just said to opposition captain, no more bounces. So they stopped bouncing him. I went up to him, I said, can I have the same? So he told the captain, no bounces for him too. We both got hundreds. I said, I like to bat with you all the time.
And what about his impact in his native Barbados? Because school children, even today, have to learn about what he achieved in the classroom.
Well, they should, because it's extraordinary. We talk about him as an all-rounder, the greatest all-rounder there's ever been. If I had to pick batsmen, I'd pick him and Viv. And if I really had to toss up and say which one, I'd pick him. And not because he's died. I love Viv, I love him. It was just, he didn't give you a chance. He didn't really, once he got in, he didn't give you a chance. He didn't play sloppy shots. He didn't like some of the England team. We're trying to tell them to be great, to be good, make big scores, but be disciplined. And he was disciplined.
Sir Geoffrey Boycott, thanks very much indeed for joining us this morning, reflecting on the life of the great Sir Gary Sobers, who's died at the age of 89. Thank you very much indeed.
Jeff Boycott.
He's a legend.
Oh, he is.
One legend talking about another.
Didn't have to write many questions for that, just let him speak. Fantastic to have him.
Well, do you know, it's fascinating just to hear someone like Jeff Boycott speak, isn't it?
Well, I tell you what, it's lovely as well, because once he'd got into the rhythm of talking, he was remembering more and more stories.
I know.
Lovely.
Could keep him going all day, couldn't you?
I know you could.
Anyway, we can't keep Aidan going because we're out of time.
I'm back in the night.
See you later. But we've got the papers heading away with Sebastian and Susan in just a moment, and that's straight after the European forecast.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean all clear skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast. Lots of sunshine around the Mediterranean through this weekend and beyond. Still very hot in Croatia and Italy, but temperatures here into next week just dipping off a little bit. Hot and sunny too for most of Greece and Turkey. The small chance of 1 or 2 isolated heavy showers across the far northeast of Italy. Most of Iberia also dry and sunny. Here too, temperatures just dipping a little bit. Sunny spells across the Canaries. Lots more sunshine to come into next week, but particularly for Rome and Dubrovnik, those temperatures just dip.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Olympian Sharon Davies. Sharon, thanks so much for joining us this morning. I think this is preposterous that we're banning Sports Day for kids, and our viewers are obviously also thinking this is completely bonkers. But is there a case to be made that perhaps we should be looking after young people when the heat is quite extreme in many people's cases, they'll say? What do you think, Sharon?
I think looking after our kids is making them resilient and giving them a sports day. I mean, sport in schools has been relegated year on year on year, and it's so depressing. You know, it's such an important part of young people's lives. Give them a hat, give them some sunscreen, make sure they're drinking plenty of water, stick them in the shade when they're not, actually having a little race. This is all about just kids getting used to life, and wrapping them in cotton wool is not the answer.
The People's Channel. Britain's newsroom. Weekday mornings from 9:30.
So you go along to the car showroom and only like 10% at most, maybe 15 pay cash. The rest buy on some form of financing. And you often buy, it's a bit like a mortgage, and it's like buying a mortgage from the estate agent, which we all know is a terribly bad idea. Yeah. But this is what people did. And the deal is, the scandal is, the guys in the showroom were acting as dealers and brokers, and they were in many cases inflating the interest rate that you paid so that they could get bigger commission. And they didn't declare that. So you basically ended up paying more for your car than you would otherwise have done if you'd gone into the open market and found yourself, a better deal.
How did that come to light?
Well, over many years. I mean, this has been going on since 2007.
GB News, the People's Channel. GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Ruth Ellis was executed on the 13th of July 1955. She was convicted of murdering a partner, David Blakely. There's been a long campaign about what to do about all of that. She has now had a conditional pardon, which would mean she would have been sentenced to life rather than sentenced to death. So it's a significant move, but what do her family make of it? Well, her grandson, Stephen Beard, is here alongside solicitor Grace Horton. Good to see you both this morning. I mean, look, from a family perspective, Stephen, what does this mean?
It's huge. It was a monumental day yesterday. In essence, it's the removal of a negative blotch in our family history. We have effectively rewritten history because ultimately, for the last 70-odd years, the truth hasn't been known.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Right, 8:49, quick look at the papers with Sebastian and Susan. Good morning.
Good morning.
Susan, in the Mail,
yes.
You shamed your religion
yes.
in the indictment of the mother of Henry Novak's killer.
Yes, the judge has been very vocal on his opinion on this, and saying that not just that it was a terrible thing to do, but it was a terrible thing to do against the religion. And I think it's quite interesting because I think the Sikh community are very cross about the fact that the ceremonial knife keeps being mentioned that was used, and actually the kirpan, which I think it's hard to tell, but it's about 500,000 Sikhs in this country, and only a very small minority actually will carry the ceremonial dagger. So that's between 15,000 and 25,000 people potentially, but the kirpan can be actually a very, very small knife that's hidden or unsheathed, not taken out. And what actually was used in the murder appears to be more of a Turkish knife, because he also
wasn't curved, was it?
Well, the murderer actually had his Kirpan still on him that wasn't ever brought out.
Yeah, and back home in his bedroom, he had a
whole host of other ones. And I think it would be unfair for the Sikh community to have, for everyone now to be up in arms and maybe saying that they shouldn't have these knives, because this wasn't actually what was used in that particular case.
It's just made a horrible story even more horrible, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Stepping in and...
but only getting 3 years.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, if that's what the sentencing rules say, then there's a wider debate to be had.
That's the very minimum. She could have got up to 10.
Right.
I mean, she'll be out... we were talking to an expert earlier on, so she could be out in 6 months.
Well, I think in this particular case as well, you could argue that it isn't just about hiding evidence, which is bad enough, or covering up something which is bad enough. It's about the fact that the knife wasn't there actually probably did lead to more confusion from the police.
It obstructed justice.
It obstructed, but it obstructed the saving of that boy, because the evidence that he had been stabbed, because everyone believed that he hadn't. I don't think you have, mate, was said to him. If a bloody knife had been next to to his body, then it would have been more clear.
But also,
wouldn't it?
she came out and took the knife, whether he called her out or not. She didn't call an ambulance.
No. No.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a lot of... I wouldn't be surprised if this sentence gets...
No, there is no defence at all. Mothering does not extend, I'm afraid, to that kind of behaviour.
No.
Completely disgusting.
No. Sebastian, can we have a look at steam trains?
Yes.
I know it's like a completely random change, but this is an interesting story.
Well, this is it. And I feel like when you enter your 30s as a man, you inherit one of a few hobbies. It's either World War II or it's transport infrastructure. And this very much feels...
Oh, my God, is that true? What a worry for the rest of the population that that's what happens to men.
It's thrilling. It's brilliant. And so this is... steam trains have been banned in England and Wales now because they could start wildfires. And I would usually be upset, but in our community in Walthamstow, we had a fire on the tracks this week, and a few houses went up in blaze because everything was just so incredibly dry. And I know it's not the only part of the country where it's happened.
Yeah, but you don't run steam trains along that.
Well, no, it's not steam trains. I think it was some infrastructure fell, but then because everything was so dry, it just went up, and all the houses.
So just a temporary ban on.
Just a temporary ban. Thankfully, we can all hop on Thomas the Tank Engine before long, we hope. But no, this includes an engine used on Harry Potter tourist services, which was linked to a fire in Cheshire.
It's a shame, isn't it? Because if you go out with the family on beautiful sunny days that we're having, the idea of riding on a steam train is something you really want to do.
It's clearly the sparks and everything that it causes. But in the Daily Mail, they've also got a piece right next to the banning of the Hogwarts Express about two heroes in Yorkshire, farmers, who actually prevented a major fire disaster because they saw... kids in a field with a lighter. What on earth is that about? Have they not got anything better to do? I know we want them to get off social media, but really? Started a fire. But these two young farmers went out and with their tractors dug trenches all around it, and it obviously stopped the fire spreading. And actually, so they are being called
Must have been quite a big
heroes.
fire by then.
Yes, absolutely. There's pictures and everything. But yes, it was very worrying, very close to a housing estate. So these two young guys went. Very dangerous thing to do, actually. But it really saved a community.
Well, you can't beat farmers for a bit of common sense.
You can't beat farmers, and you know, another story today in the paper is all about AI, and we were trying to think of the jobs that AI can't really take away. Surely farming is one of them. I'm sure there are things that can help them, but it can't take them away. You need people, don't you?
Right, you too. Thank you very much indeed. We'll see you a little bit later.
See you in a bit.
Right now, let's catch up with the weather and the heat wave. Is it going to last? Here's Alex.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Another fine day, by and large, a little bit less hot than recent days. A pleasant summer's day for most. There is the chance of seeing a shower, but if you're after rain, well, I'm afraid to say that most places won't see any all weekend. The odd shower across the east of England with thicker cloud here, and inland we'll see a bit more cloud today over northern England, Wales, parts of the Midlands, and here again too, one or two isolated, but potentially heavy showers could develop. Most places fine and bright with sunny spells. Not as hot across the south, but we still get up to 24, 25 degrees. So still feeling pretty warm in that sunshine. Always a little cooler along some of these North Sea coasts with the breeze coming in, continuing to feed in some cloud at times for Lincolnshire and East Anglia. A greater chance through the late afternoon and evening of the odd shower over South Wales and South West England, but they will be very hit and miss. But if we do see one, could be quite a potent downpour. Most of Northern Ireland, most of Scotland having a pretty pleasant summer's evening with a bit of a brisk northerly breeze across the far north, keeping temperatures a little lower here. Temperatures will dip away quite a bit on Saturday evening, so bear that in mind if you are heading out this evening. It will turn quite fresh quite quickly under largely clear skies. Still a bit of a northerly breeze blowing along the east coast, maybe some thicker cloud heading towards the northwest of Scotland, but generally clear skies and those temperatures quite a bit lower than they have been over recent nights. Towns and cities in the north dropping down to 10 or 11 Celsius, but rural spots will be well below that, so well down into single figures. Sunday's another fine day by and large. Yes, a fresh start, but then sunny spells for most, a bit more cloud in the east again, 1 or 2 showers over northern Scotland perhaps, but generally the wind's light, plenty of sunny spells, and after that coolish start, temperatures in the afternoon for most places getting back into the 20s, mid-20s across the south. Bye for now.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
What would you do with £60,000 cash? What would you do with a real gold bar? Well, both have to be won in our Golden Summer celebration. First, there's £60,000 in tax-free cash to bolster your bank account this year. Plus, we'll also give you a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to
stop.
You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you. Bulletins on GB News,
the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Good morning to you. Andy Burnham vows to revive Britain as he becomes the new leader of the Labour Party.
The Makerfield MP uses his inaugural speech to pledge the most significant political change for a generation.
We can be that party, the party that puts more power in people's hands, drives good growth in every postcode and puts hope in every heart. That's my mission as your new leader, to bring back hope.
Well, will hope in every heart actually mean anything? Will it bring about any change? And what about this nationalisation plan? Is that going to take Britain back to the 1970s?
And meanwhile, reports are circulating about his potential cabinet picks. For instance, could Angela Rayner be coming back, this time as Britain's next health secretary?
Yes, in a thinly veiled attack on his predecessor yesterday, Andy Burnham criticised a generation of politicians who failed to challenge neoliberalism. But what exactly is that going to mean for his premiership? Find out more with me very soon.
Also this morning, the White House backs Argentina's football team after players, including Messi, held a Falklands Islands banner following their World Cup semi-final win against England.
Messi is one of the greatest of all time. And in terms of the ability, the opportunity to be able to make, those statements, they have the ability to do that in the United States of America.
Elsewhere, if you like, have astronomers discovered life beyond Earth? A new planet, some 49 light years from Earth, could be the breakthrough that scientists have been waiting for. Stay tuned and we'll find out what it's telling us.
England boss Thomas Tuchel says defeat is a scar we carry as he looks ahead to the bronze medal match against France in Miami tonight. Elsewhere, there's been controversy at the Open and tributes are paid to Gary Sobers, who's died at the age of 89.
A fine weekend for most, with plenty of sunny spells. Not quite as hot as recent days. Join me later for a full forecast, but I'll warn you now, if you're looking for rain for your garden, you'll probably be disappointed.
It's just gone 9 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Well, go on.
Well, I was going to say no rain, and in your area, you've got a hosepipe ban already.
Hosepipe ban, yeah, I know. Garden's already looking a bit crispy.
Is
it? Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is.
I was driving through Hampshire yesterday, and it's almost like a snowscape because the what's left of anything in the fields is completely fried and has lost all colour. It was almost like a snowscape.
I just don't know how we end up with hosepipe bans when we spend the vast majority of the year with it chucking it down. We haven't got enough reservoirs, have we?
Yeah.
Certainly haven't.
It was the wettest winter and spring on record.
Was it?
Yeah. Do you remember it didn't stop raining for the whole of January and February?
I know.
In Wales, there was no day without rain for the first 60 days of the year.
Wasn't there?
I think that's right, yeah.
And still, the guys who run our water companies seem to do very well every Christmas with a nice big bonus.
Yes, don't they? Oh, but that's a story for another day.
Oh.
Should we talk about new beginnings? New beginnings, a new kind of politics.
New phrases.
New phrases.
New sound bites.
Hope in every heart.
Yeah.
It makes me want to...
Growth in every postcode.
Growth in every postcode.
Somebody should be writing the music for that already.
Honestly. But Andy Burnham does say he is ready to be Prime Minister, which is just as well because he starts on Monday. This is what he had to say.
We can be that party, the party that puts more power in people's hands, drives good growth in every postcode and puts hope in every heart, that gets the country pulling together again and moves beyond the divisions of recent years, all people and all places, public and private sectors, in a new sense of unity and common cause. That's my mission as your new leader, to bring back hope.
Well, you've got to hope so. Because in his speech, he set out his vision for government, promising a new kind of politics, less focused on political point scoring.
I will be a leader for the North, the South, the East and the West, for Scotland, Wales and for Northern Ireland.
Why does that get a round of applause? Let's ask our political correspondent, Olivia Utley. I mean, the fact is he's going to be a Prime Minister for the whole country, and that gets around. I can't get away from the fact that he's saying an awful lot, but none of it means anything at this stage.
Well, it is very true to say that we don't yet have any sort of solid policy commitments from Keir Starmer. Essentially what he was saying yesterday...
I know.
It had to happen.
Freudian slip. Oh, just the same. Anyway, we don't yet have any firm policy commitments from Andy Burnham. He is going to be Prime Minister in just 48 hours' time. He talks about how essentially Thatcherism, what happened in the 1980s, privatisation, has ruined the country for 40 years, and that no politicians since then have managed to correct neoliberalism. He says he's going to be the Prime Minister that corrects that. Clearly, very thinly veiled criticism of Keir Starmer. As yet, we don't really know what that means. We do have quite a lot of sound bites. He was asked whether he has finalised his cabinet choices yet. He said he's just finalising that now, which seems pretty extraordinary given just how soon it is that he will be announcing his cabinet. That's going to happen on Monday. Of course, the biggest question is who his Chancellor will be, because that will give us a really good indication of what his economic direction will be. Lots of rumours about Shabana Mahmood. Now, Mahmood hasn't really done any big fiscal speeches before. We haven't really heard her talk about the economy before. Some people suggesting that perhaps he knows that he's got to keep her in government. She's seen as a very good performer. She's seen as someone who's pretty effective, whether you like what she's doing or not. She is doing something in the Home Office. Some people think that he feels that he has to keep her in his cabinet in a top job, but he doesn't want her in the Home Office, where she is taking a relatively hard-line approach on immigration. If she does indeed become Chancellor, who will his Home Secretary be? Because, again, we don't yet know very much about what he's going to do about immigration. He's talked about ending HMO Britain, that's multi-occupancy homes where migrants are living alongside British citizens, and he talks about ending asylum hotels, but he doesn't talk about how he's going to stop that influx of migrants, which is causing the build-up in all of these dwellings around Britain.
And yet, I mean, he was praising David Blunkett, who was in the audience. And David Blunkett, who, I mean, when he was Home Secretary and since, has talked in very sort of tough terms about immigration.
So it could well be that maybe he will. Essentially, at this point, everything is speculation. And I think Andy Burnham is getting a lot of pressure from all different sides of the Labour Party. 80 MPs wrote to him last week saying that he should water down Shabana Mahmood's immigration reforms. There will be those who say that he needs to get tougher. At the moment, he isn't really giving anything away. He says that we don't want to out-green the Greens, we don't want to out-reform reform. We're going to be a Labour government, a proud Labour government. Well, that's all very well, but essentially we're all asking, are you going to move to the left or the right on immigration? And we have no answer to that. So a lot of questions, very few answers. I think we can probably expect another speech on Monday when he actually becomes Prime Minister. It's become sort of convention for a Prime Minister to make a Steps of Downing Street speech in which they outline what their plan for government is going to be. Perhaps we will see that on Monday. Yesterday's speech was very much intended for the party faithful. It was what they needed to hear. As you say, Stephen, pretty much everything he said got a round of applause. I think the party faithful are just relieved that Keir Starmer, who was so deeply unpopular in the polls, is out, and Andy Burnham, who is a known election winner, is in. They don't seem to mind at the moment that we don't yet have those concrete policy decisions. But, of course, once he has to face the country rather than just the Labour Party in just 48 hours' time, then all of that is going to change.
What is the speculation then about... And we heard Sir Anthony Seldon earlier on talking about prime ministers who've just been not parachuted in, nobody has really quite like this, but has taken over the job. They tend to go to the country early so that they feel they got their own personal mandate. What are the thoughts on that?
It's a really good question. Well, in that very strange sort of Reddit conference that Andy Burnham did, he ruled out the prospect of a snap general election, sort of an immediate general election when he becomes Prime Minister. So I don't think we can expect that. It's tricky for Andy Burnham because he does have this enormous majority, and I think because of how unpopular the Labour Party has been in the polls, it's easy to forget just how big that majority is. But even if everything went very well for Burnham, he would still be pretty likely to lose quite a lot of seats if he did go to the country. So you could argue that there's not that much in it for him, and he could govern by moving away from the 2024 manifesto, and you could have still quite a lot of rebels in the Labour Party, and he could still get votes over the line. So I suspect he's not going to go to the country that early. The only thing is, if he wants to do mega changes with taxes, it would be quite difficult to do that while sticking even loosely to the terms of the 2024 manifesto, which was pretty rigid on taxation, no raising taxes for working people. I suspect we won't see an election for a while. I don't think there's that much for Andy Burnham to win, and there's definitely a lot for him to lose.
OK. Olivia, thank you. Should we see what a former Labour councillor makes of it all? Simon Greaves. Simon, good morning to you. I mean, have you heard anything that has given you any indication so far as to what Andy Burnham is going to do?
No. But it's very obvious that he spent a long time thinking, considering, and having a good team around him. And I think that once the decisions are made on Monday and Tuesday in relation to Cabinet and the wider Cabinet, then I strongly expect we will hear on Monday what his ambitions are as Prime Minister on the steps of Downing Street. But from there, I sincerely hope there will be a blitz of policy announcements that make it very clear what the direction of travel is over the first 100 days, and I'm sure that this is already baked in, because there's a huge number of questions about what the agenda is going to be, what the direction of the country is, what the fiscal position is going to be, and all those questions will need to be answered. There can't be any periods of silence for speculation to build. It needs to be very clearly led from the front by Andy Burnham. I suspect it will do.
And then after his speech, he goes inside the door. He can't even call a cabinet meeting straight away because we don't know who his cabinet are. So we'll start to see that long, slow walk of potential candidates as they're called in, just walking up into Downing Street. Who do you think he'll go for as Chancellor?
My suspicion is Shabana Mahmood. That would be, she's a very, very good operator at the Home Office, but has a tendency to also be quite a disruptor. And there's a lot of detail that need to be worked through in terms of what the plans are going to be fiscally and for the wider economy. But she certainly had a prominent position at the special conference recently when he was announced as leader. So it wouldn't surprise me. She had a very prominent job indeed.
Can I just ask you, just final point, Simon, are you excited or happy about this or not? Because I can't quite tell.
I think that this is a fantastic opportunity and there won't be another one.
But have you got any confidence in him, though?
Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I do. He's done a phenomenal job in Manchester. There's been a lot of time thinking about what needs to happen across the country for areas like mine in Bassetlaw that were utterly screwed, I'm afraid, under the Thatcher years. And we've had the legacy of that. And as a country, we need more of that. And so there's a huge amount of work to be done. But devolution and getting the economy moving is vitally important here. Andy Burnham, massive opportunity, and everyone wishes him all the best.
All right, Simon Greaves, thanks very much indeed.
Yeah.
I don't know if everyone wishes him all the best.
No, and a lot of the papers are just sort of saying this is one last chance. Your only chance.
It is. If this goes pear-shaped, then...
OK, let's look at some of the other news stories coming into the newsroom today. And the mother of Henry Novak's killer has been sentenced to 3 years in prison for removing the murder weapon from the scene of the crime. In May, 53-year-old Kiran Kaur, that's her, was found guilty of assisting an offender.
The legendary cricketer Sir Gary Sobers has died at the age of 89, widely regarded as one of the finest cricketers of all time. Played for the West Indies for 20 years, making his first Test appearance in 1954.
And the UK's weather may turn during the second half of the summer with spells of rain forecasted by meteorologists. That's as hose pipe bans remain in force for millions of households across the country.
Well, long-term forecasts are surprisingly dodgy, or unsurprisingly dodgy, I should say. Thankfully, things are a bit closer to us, and much more accurate. So let's have a look at the latest with Alex.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Another fine day, by and large, a little bit less hot than recent days. A pleasant summer's day for most. There is the chance of seeing a shower, but if you're after rain, well, I'm afraid to say that most places won't see any all weekend. The odd shower across the east of England with thicker cloud here. And inland, we'll see a bit more cloud today over northern England, Wales, parts of the Midlands, and here again too, one or two isolated but potentially heavy showers could develop. Most places fine and bright with sunny spells. Not as hot across the south, but we still get up to 24, 25 degrees. So still feeling pretty warm in that sunshine. Always a little cooler along some of these North Sea coasts with the breeze coming in, continuing to feed in some cloud at times for Lincolnshire and East Anglia. A greater chance through the late afternoon and evening of the odd shower over South Wales and South West England, but they will be very hit and miss. But if we do see one, could be quite a potent downpour. Most of Northern Ireland, most of Scotland having a pretty pleasant summer's evening with a bit of a brisk northerly breeze across the far north, keeping temperatures a little lower here. Temperatures will dip away quite a bit on Saturday evening, so bear that in mind if you are heading out this evening. It will turn quite fresh quite quickly under largely clear skies. Still a bit of a northerly breeze blowing along the east coast, maybe some thicker cloud heading towards the northwest of Scotland, but generally clear skies, and those temperatures quite a bit lower than they have been over recent nights. Towns and cities in the north dropping down to 10 or 11 Celsius, but rural spots will be well below that, so well down into single figures. Sunday's another fine day by and large. Yes, a fresh start, but then sunny spells for most, a bit more cloud in the east again, one or two showers over northern Scotland perhaps, but generally the wind's light, plenty of sunny spells, and after that coolish start, temperatures in the afternoon for most places getting back into the 20s, mid-20s across the south. Bye for now.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, in a couple of moments, we're going to be talking about something that you actually believe already.
Well, only sort of.
Oh, you changed your mind?
No.
That there is life elsewhere in the cosmos?
Well, yeah, I do believe that. But have astronomers discovered it? No, they haven't.
Oh, well, we'll find out more about
they've
what
discovered
they think
something, though.
They've discovered, yeah. Well, it's an Earth-like planet that's something like 37 light years away.
49.
49 light years, still a long way.
So they've discovered an atmosphere.
Yes, and where there's an atmosphere, there could be life. Anyway, we'll find out more from an expert who really does know in a couple of moments.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter? So that's a very live question. Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in, Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages. Because the news is going to happen. So get a head start today. Patrick Christie's Tonight, Late Edition. Alex Armstrong Tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories. And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And meeting your favourite presenters across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
Scientists have discovered something.
Well, they've found a planet which is a bit Earth-like.
Bit Earth-like, it's rocky.
Yeah.
That means it's rocky.
49 light years from Earth.
And
It orbits a red dwarf, which is what our sun will become one day when it dies a bit more, right?
It sounds, well, I don't know if we'll become a red giant, I think.
Ooh.
I think we'll become a red giant, but I could be wrong. But the point is, it's in what you call the Goldilocks zone, where it is... technically could be habitable, and they've discovered an atmosphere, but what they've discovered so far is helium.
What's the significance of that when it comes to thinking about whether there could be life there or there could have been life there? Let's talk to Andrew McGrillen, who's the host of That UFO podcast. A very good morning to you. What is the significance of helium possibly being discovered on this amazing planet called LHS 1140b?
So, yeah, good morning to both of you.
Morning.
And Stephen's quite rightly highlighted some of the main things here, that it's in the habitable zone, which means it's at a really nice distance where liquid water might be possible. And I think we've got to caveat a lot of this to say maybe, might have, we don't know yet. It doesn't mean the planet is definitely habitable or inhabited. Scientists currently know there's escaping helium in the upper atmosphere, but they don't know exactly what's in the deeper atmosphere or even what the surface of the planet is quite like yet. But this does make this planet now one of the strongest nearby targets for future telescopes to go look for water, oxygen, carbon dioxide, methane, or other indicators of geological or biological activity. So it's the sign of an atmosphere on a planet, not necessarily what it's made of or why it's made of that. But it's such a basic discovery, but it's a very exciting one for scientists and people like me in some way.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, it's interesting because we expect answers. But, I mean, I was just looking at... I mean, how long ago was it? Was it only 15, 16, 17 years ago? We'd never discovered a single exoplanet. That's a planet outside of our own solar system. We only knew about stars. We discovered one or two. Now we know of 6,324 that we've found out about very, very recently. Now we've discovered one with an atmosphere in the Goldilocks zone. It's only a matter of time, isn't it, before we find something which we can look at and go, that absolutely could support life?
I would like to think so, and I think of those numbers, we've got around 70 classed as potentially habitable, and 29 of those are strong candidates, likely rocky candidates, like you say, but none of this yet has proven to support life. We're very much in the infancy of a lot of these discoveries, and it not only takes time. We don't point a telescope and find out immediately the results. You have to go back and reanalyze and recheck, and sometimes that can be waiting months or years for a planet to pass by a star to give us that kind of information too. So it's early days, but it's all very exciting that we're getting to the point, like you say, we're discovering more and more all the time as our technology gets better. And I think as people allow their ideas and imaginations to wander a little bit more.
It is incredible that you can point, when sufficiently clever telescopes are pointed towards that, then they can find out what sort of gases there are, what elements may be there. Is there any particular significance to the escaping helium?
I'm not too sure on that myself. I know looking at it, it's still a case of they have to go back. The signal, I think, was weaker when NASA reanalyzed it in 2025. The initial discovery was made in 2024. So that's just on the basic kind of research I've been doing on this. But again, it's the idea we're no longer just finding out other planets around other stars. We know there are, Stephen's quite rightly pointed out some of the vast numbers we're getting there too. But we're now able to look and ask, what are they made of? Do they have air? And could anything live there? And I think when we get to the point of finding a biosignature or technosignature on another planet, regardless how far away it is, I would like to think people start looking a little bit closer to home and what may or may not be around our own planet.
Yeah. All right. Look, it's really good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. I mean, that's if you think about it, 49 light years away is our back garden.
Yes, in astronomical terms.
In astronomical terms.
Is amazing. But I mean, these are the very signatures you're always looking for.
Oh, yeah.
And if there are certain elements and certain gases on a planet, then it is possible that life may have been there, may in the future be there.
I mean, it's just when you think about it.
There's a happy accident as well, which a lot of ologists think happened on Earth.
They think there are more than 1 trillion planets in the Milky Way. Right. More than 1 trillion.
I didn't get your head around it.
And when you think about galaxies, how many galaxies are there? And there are about 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe. So, I mean, do the maths. It's a lot of zeros. I mean, it's terrifying how many actual planets are out there.
I think it's terrifying if you think about it too much.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it?
It's like thinking about eternity or...
Yeah, you just can't get your head around it. Just enjoy the stars. And remember that when you do enjoy looking at the stars, you're looking at a map of the past.
Yes, yeah. It's
They're not there
incredible,
anymore.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Sad.
Anyway, you can sit there looking at the stars as you're in your counting house, counting out your money. £60,000, which could be yours in very real tax-free cash, along with, you can hold it down as a little paperweight, a solid gold bar worth more than £5,000.
How heavy it feels.
It's about 50 grams.
Yeah. Oh, 50 grams heavy.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Which doesn't sound
Still
like
get
a lot.
excited about it.
Yeah,
Though.
but it's worth more than £5,000. I mean, it's, gold is very precious at the moment. Anyway, if you fancy all that, here's how you can make it yours.
We're celebrating a golden summer with your chance to win a real gold bar. That's right, a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000 could be yours. That's gold that you could keep, trade in, or gift to a loved one to secure their financial future. We're also going to make sure your finances are fabulous with £60,000 in tax-free cash that you can spend on anything you like. And because it's tax-free, every single penny of it will be yours. So don't miss out. For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
So I'm frightening myself.
You're frightening
now.
that you're thinking too much about stars.
You know, so there's more than 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe. That's all we can see. And our nearest galaxy, I knew it was a long way away, Andromeda, it's 2.4 million light years away.
Yeah, so you'll have to invent warp drive just to be able to see it properly.
And when you think about the fact that this planet we're talking about is 49 light years away, I mean, it's literally next door. It's a next door neighbour in astronomical terms. It's terrifying, isn't it?
It is. Shall we change the subject to sport? Aidan's here. What's coming up?
Well, indeed, the inquest into England's World Cup exit goes on, with Thomas Tuchel insisting he has no regrets over his decisions on the night. Join me after the break.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray, are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline.
Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/your say. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/your say, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it? Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Aidan's here, moaning about his mother-in-law. So just be very careful.
No. No, not really.
Shut you up.
In the nicest possible way.
In a very nice way.
Tell us about Thomas Tuchel. What's he up to now? What are the latest rumours?
We'll hear from him in just a few minutes from now. But the thing is...
Sorry, he wasn't moaning about you.
No.
Mrs. What?
No, stop digging.
Sorry.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Listen.
Has Thomas Tuchel resigned yet?
No.
I'm just saying, so many people are calling for that.
Yeah, but would
that be the right thing to do?
Look, I think he's in trouble. He's in trouble because he's doubling down. Now, the thing is, if he comes out and apologises for these substitutions he made the other night, then that automatically makes him weaker.
Yeah.
It devalues his stock with other clubs, because suddenly he's a toxic brand. We use that phrase in football so often. We're one of the first industries to use it.
But blaming his players doesn't look good for him.
No, it's a bad optic as well. And these are players who don't like criticism. The modern player does not like criticism. When there's someone else to blame, that's exactly what they do. It's similar in politics, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's exactly the same.
We know Jude Bellingham's not happy already.
Well, that's
no, I know.
Is there any suggestion that what he said about Jude Bellingham affected the outcome of the
Sorry,
match?
say that again, Anne.
The things he'd said about Jude Bellingham, is there any evidence at all or rumour about whether that actually affected the mood of the team?
I don't think so, but it is being loaded in to the overall narrative, the overall story of what's going on. Now, they're paying him £5 million a year, Thomas Tuchel, to get this job right. When it came to the really big decisions, He got it wrong, and he got it spectacularly wrong. If that had been Gareth Southgate, we'd be having an inquest for weeks and weeks and weeks. Now, this one's going on as long as it is. Now, no one wants to play this game tonight, the 3rd and 4th place playoff. I don't know why they're moaning about it, really. It's not a new thing. It's been played every year for the last 4 decades. So it's a chance to finish 3rd. And if they win tonight against France, I think people will be in a slightly better mood. If he loses substantially tonight and the players look like they're not interested, then that indicates a schism between between the management and the players, and I think the FA may have to act. Let's hear what Thomas Tuchel said, though, about his decision-making the other night.
If you're asking if I regret my decision, if this is the question, then say no, I don't regret my decisions, because I felt that we become too passive. I felt that the momentum switches in the match, and I tried to help my team. I tried to help, I tried to support. I took a decision, I took several decisions, trusting my instinct, my intuition, my experience, trusting my competitiveness. And I took the decision in order to help the team and get the result. We didn't get the result. So I take, of course, the responsibility.
Now, he's never going to volunteer to resign because there's a period of time left on his contract, and he'll probably be owed a little bit of money. But the point is that no defeat against France is ever good. No. They've got a quality side. Some would say that they should have won their game against Spain the other night. They would be in the final tomorrow preparing for that. We'd be playing Spain instead. They were indeed. You know a lot about football, Anne.
Yes, sort of, but not.
You paid a lot of attention these last few weeks.
I have, and now I'm dispirited.
Well, this is the point. Everyone was engaged, weren't they?
Yeah.
And that's the interesting thing.
And that was fun.
And it taught us that the international game, when it's played at the top level, is far bigger than the club game.
Mm.
Arsenal, Man United, Liverpool, Chelsea, etc. do not fill out pubs. They do if it's a massive game like the Champions League final, but this was the bunting was out, the special offers were on. Yeah. We were going down to Tesco's, we were buying our barbecues, we were buying 4 cans for the price of 2 or whatever it was. And it was extraordinary. And there was just eerie silence on the tubes and on the trains in the last few days. It reminded me of 2002 when England actually got eliminated from the World Cup at 8 o'clock in the morning. So everyone was going into work late. And the trains that day were just deathly silent. And it's such a shame because there was such hope. Mm. And I just think sometimes you've got to... I mean, Thomas Tuchel did say that if you want someone to blame, then blame me, which we inevitably will. But that's just accountability. Yeah. That's natural. Mm. If he's moaning about that, then, I think there's a problem.
He's got to own up to it, though. I mean, I know what you say about if you admit you make a mistake, it lowers your value somewhat. But it's better than saying, I stand by my decisions when everyone knows you got it wrong.
Well, he got to the water break. So if you're not happy with what's going on, then sort it out then. No other coach in any World Cup prior to this one has ever had that luxury.
Break.
Yeah, I mean, it's nonsense, but the coaches quite like it. Yeah. So they get on the pitch and say, sort that out, you stand over there, you do that. It still doesn't necessarily work.
It also gave us a chance to go and put the kettle on as well. I thought it was quite a good idea.
It's a form of hydration break, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it is. Yeah. Oh, well, I wonder how long he'll be in the job then.
Well, we'll see. Tonight's much more important than people are letting on.
What time?
It's 10 o'clock tonight outside.
Oh, it's a late one.
Yeah. Can we talk about Birkdale?
Yes, indeed. Tommy Fleetwood in contention, Rory McIlroy in contention as well, although he's joint 38th at the moment, but he has got some work to do on what we call moving day. If you're going to make a run for the championship, you need to do it today.
Yeah.
And we've got Lucas Herbert setting the pace at the moment. Not much known about him, an Australian guy, been around for a long time. But what's interesting about this is that in golf, you do get outliers coming from nowhere to win major tournaments. And I quite like that, actually.
Yeah.
And I think there needs to be a little bit of a light shone on this just because everything has been all-encompassing as regards the World Cup.
We've got this American. Is he still in the lead now?
Bryson DeChambeau?
No, this other American. Oh, maybe he lost his position, but yesterday he was in the lead, yesterday morning, and he'd never played on the links course before, and he'd been Googling it. He'd been looking on YouTube to see how to play it.
Well, we'll Google him in a couple of moments. Right now, we've got to move on. Thanks, Aidan.
Oh, good to see you.
Yeah, we have, because we're going through the newspapers in a couple of moments with Sebastian and Susan. First of all, though, if you're in search of some holiday sun, here's the forecast.
You're looking happy.
Well, the forecast looks good.
So you've sorted the travel insurance then?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Lots of sunshine around the Mediterranean through this weekend and beyond. Still very hot in Croatia and Italy, but temperatures here into next week just dipping off a little bit. Hot and sunny too for most of Greece and Turkey. The small chance of 1 or 2 isolated heavy showers across the far northeast of Italy. Most of Iberia also dry and sunny. Here too, temperatures just dipping a little bit. Sunny spells across the Canaries. Lots more sunshine to come into next week, but particularly for Rome and Dubrovnik, those temperatures just dip.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
What do you think about where we're going to get our future athletes and our Olympians from when we're telling our children, oh, you can't go out and partake in sports today because it's a bit hot?
It really worries me. We have a generation that spend their life being very inactive, an awful lot of time on mobile telephones, coming up with every excuse as to not to move and not to be moving. Sport in schools is where we can catch every kid. And the kids that will lose out are the kids that come from areas of deprivation, because the parents that can afford to make sure their children do sport will still do that. But the parents that can't afford, sadly, will miss out. So it's really important that our kids, do enough physical activity, lay down these habits, understand about how their body works and nutrition and food and looking after themselves and health. We have a health crisis. It's really important we start early.
The People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
GB News entertainment editor Alex Davies joins us now. What a woman, what a voice, what an incredible life. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, like you said, she's a singer whose songs have transcended generations, really. Everybody knows Total Eclipse of the Heart. Everybody knows Holding Out for a Hero. She's been awarded an MBE. She represented the UK at Eurovision. And it's just very sad. Tributes have already started to pour in from across the showbiz world and just fans in general, This is somebody who's, like I said, transcended generations with her music and will continue to do so posthumously.
Well,
thanks so much. I met her just once in a green room. She was an absolute delight, and even speaking, she had that great rasping voice.
Oh, what an incredible voice.
Incredible voice.
GB News, the People's Channel. Britain's newsroom. Weekday mornings from 9:30.
So you go along to the car showroom and only like 10%, at most maybe 15%, pay cash. The rest buy on some form of financing. And you often buy, it's a bit like a mortgage, and it's like buying a mortgage from the estate agent, which we all know is a terribly bad idea. Yeah. But this is what people did. And the scandal is, the guys in the showroom were acting as dealers and brokers, and they were in many cases inflating the interest rate that you paid so that they could get bigger commission. And they didn't declare that. So you basically ended up paying more for your car than you would otherwise have done if you'd gone into the open market and found yourself, a better deal.
How did that come to light?
Well, over many years. I mean, this has been going on since 2007.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Right, time to go through the papers with former Labour advisor Sebastian Selleck and the journalist and broadcaster and author, an all-round good egg, Susan Holder. Good morning. Sebastian, let's start with The Independent, should we?
Yeah.
And looking at graduates and the consequences of AI.
Yeah, more bad news if you want a job, I'm afraid. So the OECD's found that 75% of London jobs are highly exposed to AI. We probably knew that already. Yeah, I know. But highly exposed, not necessarily mean going to take your job. More, I think AI is going to be involved. And so I've got 3 pieces of advice here. There are 3 routes you could go down now. 1, become a tradesperson, sack it all off and go and do something that AI isn't going to touch for a long time. 2, become the AI expert. We're going to need someone to run the AI at the end of the day. And if you can be that person, you're probably going to keep your job. And 3rd, I think there's a huge opportunity for AI consulting. There are all these companies that are going to need to implement it.
Yes,
you can be the person to teach them how.
Do you not consider that a real job, Stephen?
That's not a real job, is it?
Get one of those lovely contracts going around to all sorts of big companies telling them how to cope with AI.
There are opportunities. AI how to cope with AI.
Yeah, well, that's
how do I implement
Well, I think that's what that is becoming a thing that eats itself. I mean, I do find there there are things. It is quite a scary headline, and then when you say, let's just hope it means we can jobs can be enhanced by tools can be used. I'm a writer. I do use ChatGPT not to write my books, but because I want to do a bit of research sometimes, or sometimes it's like I'm setting something in New York. Give me the name of possible fictional radio station names. I never use the thing it comes up with, but it just sparks.
Gives you an idea.
It gives you some ideas that you spark off. So there are ways of using things as tools that are good, but it is worrying that, and I don't understand quite why it's only in London. They're saying, I presume it's like big city jobs. I mean, finance or things like that. Is that why London is mentioned more than anything else? Because I think people all over the country are probably looking at this situation. But you're right, trades. Somebody fixing a dripping tap is not going to be replaced by a robot.
There's got to be a lot more focus on getting a trade.
Yes.
So it's a job for life if you
I didn't see it, but last night there was a new comedy called Android.
Yes.
I haven't watched it because I needed to go to bed.
But
it's about a second-hand robot who's a kind of carer. And it's Sue Johnson in the older lady part, and Diane Morgan plays the robot.
Diane Morgan.
I love Diane Morgan, and I don't know what it's like, but I'm going to watch it. But I just thought, well, isn't that quite clever that somebody's come up with a sitcom called Android, which is about AI? So that's somebody. People are acting in it. People are writing it. It's a creative thing. So it can be a really alarming thing when you think about AI, but there are lots of ways of using it or experimenting with it, and it kind of still bringing us jobs, hopefully.
So, Sebastian, what would you retrain as?
What would I retrain as? I would be not an electrician. I'd probably kill myself very quickly through my course of work, not by choice.
Yeah, it is.
I'd be a builder. That'd be good.
A builder?
Be outside a bit. Yeah. Make people nice kitchens.
Yeah.
But
I'll tell you what, plumbing, because it's hard work getting a plumber.
Plumbing, yeah.
Oh, you don't have a sink though, do you?
I was mistaken this week for being an interior designer.
That's a good one.
But actually, all I've done when I have to do it is use AI.
There you go. Can we have a look at the Times? Because the Duchess of Sussex is very, very sad.
Oh, she's very sad. It's very sad that she's very sad.
She didn't get to do any public events.
Yes,
with
because,
Harry.
well, she didn't, which, as far as I'm aware, was her choice. I don't know what prevented her doing.
Well, they talk about the security.
The security, but she was here. She did go to Highgrove. They also spent some time at Althorp, which is where Princess Diana is buried, obviously. They obviously were here and travelled around, which does prove, I think, unequivocally, that Meghan and the children can come to Britain, because they did. Now, what security they would have needed to be more public and actually stand next to him at anything, that's up to them. But despite the fact that the Highgrove visit with the King is very private, there's not any pictures, they were obviously told you're not to speak about it afterwards. People magazine in America, which has long been considered the spokes kind of magazine of choice for William and Harry, has got a little story that she is very sad. A spokesperson close to them has said she's very sad, and that she does let Harry lead in situations with his family. It's big.
Oh, well, that's nice.
That's nice of her, isn't it?
She shouldn't be sad, because actually, I think a lot of people will, or some people maybe, will see this as a step one.
Yeah.
And the fact if she can not say anything and not release any photographs.
That would be good, yeah.
I think a lot of people will see that as a
And I do think it was good that she was here and supporting him, because it's a big deal for him. I think it's a shame we didn't see her. I think it would have
been vitriolic against her.
Well,
I mean,
might be, but
not undeservedly.
She's only going to change that if she's able to step forward and be what she wants to be and do what she wants to do, and in a way that people don't have anything to say about it that's negative.
I'll bet you anything we won't see her until Invictus. That's a year from now.
Well, and
then it would be nice if she was with them.
What the stories are today, though, is this the beginning of the comeback? Is this them trying it out? Let's doing it kind of quietly this way. Is that what we want? I don't know. I mean, I think it was a very wasted opportunity that we've lost them. I think that has been thrown away, all from them. That's my opinion. I know other people think differently, but I think they could have made a real kind of go of it, and they didn't. If they've now had a change of heart and want to come back, should they?
I don't know. What do you reckon,
if
Sebastian?
they're going to
I'm
do
make
it,
myself very unpopular, but I'd love to see a reconciliation, just for everybody, really. And it was a shame they felt that they couldn't stay in the first place. But what's better than a happy family, eh?
If they're going to do it, though, they'll have to do it before William takes over, because I don't think he'll allow it.
But do you mean? I mean, I agree with you entirely when it comes to the family. But what about public life or being just appearing at public events?
Yeah, look, if it's possible, I'd like to see it happen. It's harder, isn't it? Like, you've got to work with public opinion, and public opinion doesn't feel always like it's in their favour.
No.
So it's going to be a tough comms job to get there. It is going to take time. I think you're probably right. We won't see them for a year, or her for a year. But if we can get there, I would support that.
I think they have to have a very big shift. I mean, obviously he lost his court case, which is one of the... And you can't carry on bleating about your lot. You've got to kind of move forward.
I mean, I'd like to see Harry at these things.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be bothered if I never saw her in public again.
Well,
I
I agree with you. I think everyone feels like that, but I think she is his wife.
Yeah, but I tell you what was big is that the Queen saw her, by the sound of it.
Yes.
Absolutely no.
Yes.
She was there at Highgrove.
Well, I would hope that Charles wouldn't have to face that alone. I think he would need his wife there, despite the fact that Harry did call her a villain and a monster, or whatever else he kind of called it in his book. And it is, of course, it's coming up to her birthday. So she is going to be 79, Queen Camilla.
It was her birthday yesterday.
Well, she's really. There's a picture out today in a blue dress.
Maybe it's
and it's also been announced that for her birthday she is going to be giving a gift, because of course she does the Queen's Reading Room. She's a very, very big advocate for literacy and book reading, and every Year 6 child is going to receive a best-selling book. The one thing I would say on that is, it's a shame they're all going to get the same book. Yeah. It's a shame that they didn't actually champion some lesser-known authors, not just give everyone a bestseller.
Yeah.
Just as an author, I would like to say there are other authors other than just bestsellers, and you should explore other authors if you can.
I think that's a fair point. Sebastian, in the Express, where should we all be going on our hollybobs?
Yes, they've been tossing up the figures to work out where the cheapest and best value destinations are. So number 3, we've got Lanzarote. And second place, we've got Sunny Beach in Bulgaria, which I hadn't heard of. And number 1 is the Algarve. But I was stunned by some of these prices. If you go to the Algarve, the cheapest beer is going to cost you £2.18, which as a Londoner feels like an absolute steal. And you can have a 2-course lunch for 2 adults at £15.73.
And also, coffee in the Algarve, usually about £1.20, and you often get a pastel de nata thrown in.
Yes. Oh dear.
You do, actually.
But I tell you what, if you are looking to get away, the price of airfares are astronomical at the moment. I mean, they're disgustingly high.
Well, they are in holiday. It's coming up to holiday time, isn't it?
But you do wonder whether it's a knock-on from the Straits of Hormuz.
Feels like it, doesn't it?
Yeah,
They're
it
hedging
really
oil
does.
3 months ahead. And it's going to, Well, it's better than the crisis we were told might happen.
Well, yes, it's...
At least the planes are taking off.
This is true.
And the most expensive places, on the converse of that, were, I think some places in Italy were very, very high.
Really?
Lots of, very, very expensive.
Sorrento.
Yeah, well, Sorrento.
You've got to be very, very, very rich to live in Lake Como. Yeah. Very nice. Can we ever finish off with a bit of William Shatner?
Oh, yes.
Because this, I'm sorry, what's he playing at?
Well, he's going to boldly go, see what I did there, on stage in a punk music festival called Riot Fest in Chicago. He's 95, and
he's got his own heavy metal band.
He has, and I can't tell you the name because it's so rude. But good on him.
Yeah, he'll do anything, William Shatner. I think he's wonderful.
I think he's amazing. We were discussing earlier that for somebody who's never been to space, he's the most kind of space cadet person you could think of, isn't he? I love that about him.
He's been to low orbit.
Oh, has he?
Yeah.
Oh, good for him. Of course he has,
Technically, it's called space, so he's the oldest person to go to space.
Oh, good on him.
So he has actually been in...
I think he's an absolute lunatic, and more people like that is what we need.
Now than he did 10 years ago.
Yeah, he is, actually.
He's lost weight. He doesn't look 90 what?
95.
95.
No.
Setting a very high bar for the rest of us. Have you noticed how very old people are looking younger now?
I have noticed that.
This is a real pressure on the rest of us.
I don't know why they don't stop, though. It's a bit like Mick Jagger.
Because you stop, and then what's the point? He's having a good time.
Pressure to keep going.
Yeah, you have to keep going. There's no other choice.
I want to keep going. I want to have a nice retire at some point.
Do you remember I was telling you about the planet that's a diamond?
Yes.
It's in carats.
Yes.
It is 10 billion trillion carats. If you compare that with the Hope diamond, which is the biggest diamond we've discovered thus far, that's 45 carats.
Right.
So it's a whole planet.
It's a diamond planet.
And none of them are as sparkly as you, Anne.
Oh, give over. Right, that's it from us. Thanks for your company. It's Saturday Morning Live, heading your way straight after the weather.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office here on GB News. Another fine day by and large, a little bit less hot than recent days. A pleasant summer's day for most. There is the chance of seeing a shower, but if you're after rain, well, I'm afraid to say that most places won't see any all weekend. The odd shower across the east of England with thicker cloud here. And inland we'll see a bit more cloud today over northern England, Wales, parts of the Midlands, and here again too, one or two isolated but potentially heavy showers could develop. Most places fine and bright with sunny spells. Not as hot across the south, but we still get up to 24, 25 degrees. So still feeling pretty warm in that sunshine. Always a little cooler along some of these North Sea coasts with the breeze coming in, continuing to feed in some cloud at times for Lincolnshire and East Anglia. A greater chance through the late afternoon and evening of the odd shower over South Wales and South West England, but they will be very hit and miss. But if we do see one, could be quite